Excuse me. Court is in session. Someone's in court attempting to get some sort of communication cut. Somebody could be in a rut about something. However, whatever this is universally aligned. It's meant, whatever something is about to go down is about to go down how it's supposed to go. Okay. Um, Someone needed someone to lose hope, but however, whatever someone felt that, I feel like something is biting somebody back in the butt in the worst way, because I feel like somebody may have not thought that something that they did or wrote on paperwork would cause something to go in the way that it is. Okay. And reason being, I'm getting someone looking at a situation that was like, however, if you didn't know how to communicate with someone, but you could get someone to get to her to communicate to you, how is it that you don't know where someone is? Logic would say you know where they are, they just don't want to talk to you. However, the question is, why wouldn't they not want to talk to you? That's the major thing. The second part of this situation, someone felt that what they were doing towards a person would work more in their benefit. However, it was like, I'm hearing this is counterfeit, man. And the bigger counterfeit of the situation is because somebody's also like somebody in a situation, somebody is planning to give somebody counterfeit money. And they think that shit is so fucking funny because it's like, shit, for me, why would I take cash money when you could clearly do fucking deposits? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But however, someone needs to be fully aware. Someone may feel like, yeah, I'll give them this cash money or whatever and just see what they do with it. And someone wanted to use that to a benefit. An authority, it's somebody in authority figure. They must work for like a PD, but more often than not, it's like somebody that could be like police or some weird shit. They're more common to do that. I've seen them do that before. However, in another instance of a situation, someone is not paying attention that like I said, for a long time, people play in spirituality. People play with hoodoo and voodoo. Hoodoo and voodoo, you'll see more people that were into like prostitution, street walking, strip clubs and stuff like that, bars and stuff like that. That they more often than not are the ones that'll play in where you go to the reservations and you deal with Native Americans. That's why you get the dream catchers shit, right? And someone may have felt that plan and dream work will work in their benefit to stop something. However, it's actually counteracting this situation. And reason being why it's revealing more of the crimes that they're involved in, and somebody is involved in children trafficking and they're using certain restaurants for right now. This type of situation would get somebody got a really nice restaurant. I feel like I'm hearing somebody has the nicest or the best macaroni and cheese in town. And whoever it is, because this either could be like a small town, give or take, something about population 20 million, maybe less. But give or take, this is like somebody in a day, their restaurant gets about 20,000 customers. Whatever this restaurant is, give about 20,000 customers literally in a day, easily. Easily. On a great day, decent day, it'd be about 30,000 people, right? However, somebody has really great macaroni. They have really good, like, I don't know what type of chicken this is that they make. It could be jerk chicken, it could be, but it's like a black owned restaurant. And whatever this black owned restaurant is, I feel like somebody intuition could have went off. I feel like you would think a woman's intuition would go off quicker than what the man's would, but I feel like a man's intuition went off, but it went off on a couple because I'm seeing like a couple end up fighting somewhere or doing something somewhere, and whatever this is, where they try to get them out of there before something else is revealed. And this is like three teenagers, or they could be like, I'm giving, give or take, those other kids, they're not past the age of 13. One could be about 16, 17, but they're being used more or less to cover up what's going on, right? So the girl is going to be like, because I'm getting somebody's grooming the hell out of some damn kids. The older kids are getting groomed. I can tell you that for damn sure. But however, one person, the female is light skinned, wavy curly hair, but they use a particular church. So I don't know what church it is where these kids be wearing dresses with tennis shoes, okay? Out of those kids, it's gonna be two little girls. One gonna be wearing like either a yellow or a blue dress. And somebody like whoever this minister or pastor is in this situation, he loves to see little girls in dresses. And like to dance around in their dresses, but they'll play like on a piano and have them dance around to like church music. And whoever it is a female that brings these kids to him. Okay. On the back end, when it comes to the boys, he will assault the boys. He won't touch the girls. This also could be taking place in the Caribbean too. Or someone could be from like a third world country. Could be from the places I've been talking about. Panama, Brazil, Costa Rica, Argentina. Okay. It could be Puerto Rico. It could be the Dominican Republic. It could be Haiti. It could be Africa. Shit, low key, this could be happening in goddamn China. However, because ain't nobody excluded from this situation. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius woman. So this could be a grandmother or a mother figure. Or a mother that is a grandmother as well. Okay? Because I was sitting there and once I woke up, it was like I went to check my phone because it was something that I'm doing. And then I wake up to that stupid ass message. I was like, who was lame enough to do that? But I was like, I wasn't triggered, but I was like, I thought that shit was hilarious. Like, it's nonsense. The fuck I look like reaching out to somebody that clearly opened up a fucking false case, wrote all this shit in the case to do something, but they have to send somebody else. I was like, I wouldn't put it past her to make that fucking page and make it seem like, oh, well, tell them to call them. Like, why the fuck would I call a lame ass bitch like that? Like, you get somebody's kids taken away, then the audacity to try to say somebody's incompetent, their mental health, and then you do HIPAA violation, and then you use paperwork that is already invalid with ill intent. Please, I'll be damned if I sit there and try to talk to somebody. I'll be damned. And they paid somebody. They probably used one of the kids or something, or somebody's kids, or somebody that they felt they work with. If not, this is like her using her sister or people from the medical field to try to reach out. If not, old military people that they had used. This is also somebody that's going to be found out trying to do womb work, have a voodoo doll, and they like stabbing at somebody's uterus. Like these broads is weird, okay? But it's like whatever it is, it's a couple that's known to do. Somebody goes back. I feel like there's two people that they're meeting up somewhere in a town or a city, and I'm getting somebody having a conversation was like, well, them two motherfuckers, they stone cold killers. I ain't seen them in a long time. And it's like somebody back gives out, or it's like somebody either their back give out, or it's like they have like a muscle spasm or some shit like that. Also, someone could be trying to like get a person in the background to do something very impulsive, but whatever somebody gonna do impulsively, especially if this is a doctor, judge, or a lawyer, they're gonna face automatic judgment. Okay, somebody, whatever it is that they're about to do or decide to do, if this person is Air Force, Navy, or somebody in the military or Veterans Affairs, they attempt to block something or do something, they're gonna get caught on the spot. Whoever is this doctor or something like that that's been trying to keep something a secret, they're getting 20 years because they're also, somebody is finding out that they knew about a death or covering up some deaths, something pertaining to children, or they did something with some kids before. And it's coming to the surface, whether they knew it or not. It's like somebody is literally monitoring somebody's Like I said, this is federal. Somebody is literally monitoring a person's file to see how often. I'm getting like, there's a whole bunch of departments. So you know how like people can look up your social security, driver's license, what else? For me, like it'll be my driver's license, weapons license, passport, social security, veterans affairs. That's one, like one major hit right there. Them fucking with that shit right there alone, that shit, that's going like, that's a whole lot of fucking time. But the biggest part of this situation is it's a cover up and it leads to children trafficking crimes. Somebody don't realize that shit though. There's a mechanic or somebody that do maintenance that's involved. But it's like as soon as somebody do something, it's gonna go back to back. This is also, I had mentioned a long time ago, these are a lot of fucking people that do not know. Like in the military, we call it CID. OIG or whatever. Like they have to do internal investigation. Somebody may have thought the internal investigation was over. It was never over. Just because they closed that case doesn't mean that it's over, because somebody didn't realize 4 other cases were open, but it's like 40 cases of mentioning the same thing about certain people doing particular things. This is them reporting the fact of them doing falsifying documents, not processing documents. Also, damn, this is something that's going all the way back for somebody up to 89 or 1998. Or these people can been born between 1989 to 1998, or somebody's crimes or when they started to do certain things go back to then. Somebody could have been born in 1975, or 1975 research or paperwork. Whoever was the person is 1974 who's allowing something at a courthouse, clergy work. Um, It's about 5 people that they caught on to with construction. There's also somebody found something on a fairground or construction ground. So that means that wherever someone lives at, there's construction going on near them. Okay, if you got current construction going on near you, those people are the ones who are of interest. Okay, military veterans, so they have ties to military or federal, the government, and a church, a judge, that they trying to keep this hidden or quiet. So it's like, well, you know what you guys doing the work there, I can ask the property grounds to go ahead and allow you guys where. These is like getting people from out of town or out of state to come in to do construction work in a neighborhood, apartment complex in mines. It's like, how long does it fucking take for you to lay down fucking cement? Now, granted, it's a little bit hot, but here lately with the rain coming in, it's a little bit cooler. Plus, we're near closer to the water. So more often than not, most people, if you've been in logistics, you know the coordinations of those things. So you know with the coordinates, more often than not, either you're going to sit there and set up for them to be in hotels or on the property where you live at or where you live near, and you set up for them to stay in an apartment. If you got, vacant apartments, you allow them to stay there or whatever. You clean it up, renovate it as much as you can before you get ready to allow people to move in or tenants, and you allow those people to stay in there. In my situation, they've been using the fuck out of this shit. It's like, it ain't bother. As long as you don't bother me, I ain't bothering you. I don't really give a fuck about what you're doing, even though, I already know what it comes down to, because once they feel like you're whistleblowing in a situation, that's how it's going to go down. More often than not, like say if you get stopped by the cops or something like that, and it's more than just that cop and their partner, like if it's more than 3 officers, it's a form of intimidation. There's already an agenda prior to them coming towards you, especially if you're a military veteran or you had like certain like prior convictions, you're a felon or something like that. They'll know it. Should they be knowing it more often than not? They run your tags before they pull you over. People don't know that your tags is literally ran where they be like, we need your license and registration and we need to run this through the system. Them running that shit through the system is bullshit. That is just them stalling time to buy time just to search and make sure you don't have warrants. Because meaning, was the stop warranted? Did you, is your tail light out? Like, mostly, a lot of people are about to discover, like, traffic stops are not necessarily a traffic stop. Your plates are ran. And when your plates are ran, it will show up if you got warrants or certain things like that. But more often than not, when your plates are ran, it's just to make sure you don't have any traffic violations. So whenever they get ready to run other things, most of the time, if it's like, if you have certain crimes going on in your state, them holding on to your driver's license, which the driver's license give you more access to, like, your home, if you had domestic violence and major warrants. The insurance, more often than not, depending on the state, and I'm not going to mention it's only in 40 states. It's not all 50 states, but in 40 states where they already had this program running for over 40 years, that when they run your insurance, more or less it allow them to know if you will be a person, whether they can use you to get over in cases, if they can get over on you. They can look at the type of insurance you have, reason being why they don't ever allow you to see on the computer what they're typing. And also when it's time for them to do the reports, if they do have to arrest you, you don't get to see what they put on there, right? So they don't give you a chance to rebuttal what that officer is putting on that paperwork. And more often than not, the police chief or the sheriff has to go ahead and overview it before they do that. So more often than not, either they'll arrest you and take you up there and they don't ever process you, or they'll take you and then they'll process you. But once they take you and process you, you don't get a chance to go ahead and do the full review about what it is that they wrote up on you. And more often than not, you don't find out until either after you get your first hearing, or, what I'm saying, after, upon hearing and you get released, that's when you usually looking at the police report like, what the fuck did they really arrest me on type shit. And once they arrest you on that and you finally look on it, more often than not, if you're not really paying attention, you ever notice bails bondsmen and things like that, they are like right there, not too far from the police stations or, from the jailhouse. It's not for just a fancy reason just to say, hey, it's quick to just go ahead and get the release and you be right there to go pick up the person. More often than not, it's to do, like, if you don't do your due diligence on the bail bondsmen or the probation officers that are around those places, and you don't do your, research. Were they a prior private investigator? Were they a prior bounty hunter? Were they a prior person with military skills? Were they a prior federal bureau investigator? Were they a prior DA? Like, those certain things do play a major factor about whenever you choosing bail bondsmen. Because most often than not, when people get in the criminal world, they don't even pay attention to that shit. All they know is like, shit, I need to get my man out, or I need to get my sister out, or I just need to get out. They're not paying attention to the, like, the low minor, which is a very major fucking detail that plays a key factor in whether those people are going to stalk you, harass you, or, they build a rapport with you like, damn, that's officer such and such. He always fucking arresting me. And it's like, is that you such and such? It is. You know what I'm saying? How, like, certain people be like, they have certain people they always arresting and stuff like that. Or it'll be another major key detail that people don't pay attention to. When it comes to churches, grocery stores, restaurants, you ever notice where they got those stickers of, like, sheriff department, the local PD, or hospitals and things like that? That ain't for no reason. More often than not, those are already prepaid off people that when it's time for them to do cover-up scams and things of that such, they are the people that they're going to be invested in. If it's a church in there, just know more often than not, you're dealing with a criminal thing. It's just you got to figure out what is that church's thing. More often than not, you pay attention to the pastor or the minister. Is it a man or is it a woman? Then you pay attention, are they married or they not married? Pay attention to the wife and the older two children. That's going to tell you everything. If they're just if they want to be plain Jane and don't want to do makeup and stuff like that, he has her under fucking full control. If the older two children is just like, yeah, Well mannered, well behaved 10 times more often than not. If you're not really paying attention, I'm gonna give it about a 6 out of a 10 situation. You're looking at, they have their kids well trained to a point that if they're trafficking, killing, or sexual abuse is going on, you will like it'll be very subtle. You can miss it, but if you know what it looked like, you could tell if they're being sexually abused or if they're taking it out on the younger children. You'll know more or less. If they're very strict on them kids not being able to play particular sports, or it's like they always got to be at church versus being able to participate in extracurriculars. Like, I'm talking about even extracurriculars down to a point where they can go join a chess club or a math club or something like that, and they'd be like, no, because their job is to be in the church. More often than not, it's a controlled substance. They either getting abused, trafficked, sexually assaulted, or that church runs very high money laundering, or that pastor or the minister, man or woman, will have prior lifestyle crimes that you, if you're not paying attention to it, you will miss that shit. So you just got to pay attention where they come from, country, city, state, town, languages, and all that other stuff. If you don't know the type of priors or what it looked like, you know what I'm saying, more often than not, they're not looking for it. They don't want to look for it. If there's investigations and they're not paying attention, it's because they're a part of that investigation, or that is one church where the money is coming through, either dirty money or clean money, and they also are being invested in from either a grocery store. They're being invested in from the police, or the money that they get, they'll put it into the police department, they'll put it into a grocery store, they'll put it into a hospital. I mean, this is just how the game goes, okay? I'm putting somebody on the game that keep trying to play like, oh, this is nothing like that. If they're very, 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 very heavy, like, oh, we support veterans, and that minister or that pastor is at one point a retired veteran, or they said that their parent or grandparent is, just know that they're utilizing every single piece of benefit from that situation to do that. So meaning, if they have a church full, a lot of fucking veterans, just know that they're utilizing those connections. And if they got veterans and stuff like that, and they don't have if they don't have like a homeless program or certain type of programs in their church, more often than not, they are doing criminal shit. More often than not, they're doing criminal shit. And if they got a rivalry with a church or something like that, or another church in their city, and they just want other people to come into their church, more often than not, they doing that shit, that bippity boppity boo on the low, whether you know it or not. I seen it with my own eye. Growing up in the church all the time, being forced to go in there because they used to swear up and down that I needed a fucking exorcism. Shit, being the kid that they would want to abuse and keep it quiet, you see a lot of shit. You will see a lot of shit, and that's how that shit is fucking played out. So more often than not, say it's something trafficking, and then you discover, like, more often than not, like I said, the male pastors, and they keep a real tight grip on the wife. He's sleeping with men, or he's sleeping with the younger man from either the choir, the church, the piano, or the kids in the fucking congregation. It's no secret to it. It ain't no second thought or whatever. If they're very adamant that the wife needs to be submissive, if he's always pushing his sermon or trying to push the agenda of submission, and they always talking about what submission is on their sermons, more often than not, they messing with men. That there's no missing that. They'll be married to a wife, but if their sermons is always surrounded by submission of the wife, or submitting to your spouse, or it's always like circulated around money factors and stuff like that, and then it's like, oh, how people treat you, and these type of people are demons and stuff like that. More often than not, they sleeping with men. They sit there and they degrade the wife, or they want the wife to be stuck in the house and be blind to the bullshit, or she's probably most likely than not getting abused and embarrassed and ashamed to even speak about it. So of course, what's the better course of action? Make your kids very submissive so you don't piss off dad and I don't have a bad day. So, oh, if your wife not happy and things like that, it ain't no fucking coincidence. It be so fucking subtle that people don't pay attention to the situation, and they get away with it. And like I said, if you seeing markers of, this police department supports this grocery store, they support it because they know that at the same time, whoever the owner is, and especially if you can see, is it a chain? If it's a chain grocery store, is it, an outsource where you can become independent? You need to know more or less about that. Is like, let's see, Sprouts, right? Sprouts is a franchise. But it could be owned independently for somebody else, right? And you go up to that place and you see that it's a police tag on there. You see if it's a hospital tag. You can see if it's a fire station thing like that. More often than not, depending on what it is and what type of stickers they have in the window, because they're very notorious for putting the stickers of, oh, we got this one from the police station. We are avid, proud people to serve our police. We are avid people of the cancer, da 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 da. If it's that on those doors and you know it's a medical research institutional hospital, more often than not, that those are people that are running blind studies of what you're purchasing in grocery stores, which is the Department of Agriculture, which is tied to that. And then when it's tied to those type of things, more often than not, if it's in your neighborhood, right, and you are a person with major health conditions, or you're a person that major thing that's been going on for years since 2008 is an attack on military veterans, combat veterans at that. And they will find ways, and especially if you're a person that don't like to take medicines or they do certain things to you, they will go in there. They know how to place the foods. They pay attention to how you select your foods and things like that. They'll contaminate shit. They don't give a fuck. They just know, hey, every time in our stores, they keep statistics in there too. In this store, these type of people or these veterans always purchase these type of fruits and vegetables. On this aisle, like more often than not, if it's a veteran and they ain't eating healthy, they wasn't healthy from the beginning. But you know, more often than not, you'll get military veterans that were like really into their health conscious, you know, to always do your grocery shopping on the outskirts. Anything on the inside is more not healthy. They'll try to label it as healthy, but you know the healthiest food, deli, things like that, fresh fruit, organics, you on the outside. Anything on the inside of a grocery store, you know it's not healthy, right? But you know, well, I can't say right for certain people who don't know how to do it right. But on those type of things like that, more or less, you'll know how it is. But also, you'll know more or less whenever it comes to the cover up, the criminal crimes, or the situation that they got going on. You'll know more or less who's looking to cover up the crime, who are the main source or the culprits. If you find yourself, like I said, with traffic stops, they already run your plates before they pull you over. More often than not, if you're smart enough and you know where you're going and stuff like that, most of the time, you know how they tell you before you leave home, you should be knowing where you're going. Reason being, well, if I'm going to leave the house, logic would say, if I'm going to go from here to the mall today, I need to take a route where there are active cameras that I know that there's not any issues because nowadays we have I know in, what state was that? Colorado. They have active cameras on the highway so you can see on the highway more or less of where you're going. That's what I thought was very dope about fucking Colorado because they're not able to try to butcher or make up any type of bullshit because the cameras are active and they usually have that more open and running during the winter time because of the snowstorms and stuff like that so they can catch and see, you know, whenever the storms come. And of course insurance claims is going to be through the fucking roof because the snow and cars sliding and stuff. More or less, you know, on the car route where you're going, you can tell if it's going to be traffic. You can tell if, you know, the streetway is clear. You can tell if there's highway patrol over that motherfucker. You'll know more or less, so you know you're not really dealing with a lot of fucking harassment, right? But on this type of situation, more often than not, and I learned that shit when I was in Colorado. I was like, so shit. So they technically already know if you got a warrant and stuff like that before they pull you over. And now, once you learn about that, about them, you know, when they run their tags, they know if you got traffic tickets. Or, you know what I'm saying? You should know before you leave your house. You know not to leave your motherfucking house if your tail light is not working. You ain't got no business leaving your house if you know your insurance ain't up to par. You know you ain't got no fucking business if one of them headlights is out. And especially if you are a person of color, sit your ass the fuck down until you get that shit handled. Or your driver's license is suspended or it's not working. I mean, if it's suspended, but it's like certain urgent shit that you got to do. You got to get the kids. Make sure you keep it in a small 2-mile radius or very less than. They're not likely to fuck with you long as they know, okay, they picking up their kids from school, they going home type thing. In my situation, shit, I was living with a person who was so fucking messy that you could get pulled over and stuff. I got to pick up my fucking kid, bro. Are you going to take me there so I can get there? If not, it just, you know what I'm saying? You got to figure that out. But if you know you got a expired license or something like that, get that shit handled before you start going out there in the streets. Common sense will tell you that if your license is suspended, don't move that goddamn car unless it's an emergency. If it ain't an emergency, you ain't got no business moving that car. And you better call somebody to either pick you up. You better call your goddamn car service. Logic will tell you that, but some people be like, "Oh, fuck the police." Okay, shit, fuck the police. I know I ain't that shit. It's already bad enough being black. I'm a fucking woman, and then you get pulled over and some bullshit. Listen, these motherfuckers is eager. Even the black motherfuckers on the forces, all they know is they need to meet quota for the year. Okay, they need to meet quota for the month. And anybody that knows, shit, the 1st through the 15th, that's when they usually trying to get they fucking quota for them damn police departments and highway patrol, and then the last 5 days of the month. Okay, so if you don't know how they go ahead and run traffic or traffic control with the police, shit, what you doing trying to out fucking run the goddamn police if you don't know how the fucking police work? That should be like blowing my motherfucking mind. Like, shit, you trying to be a criminal and you get caught up a lot, shit, you might want to find you a different job, because apparently criminal jobs or criminal lifestyle is just not fucking for you. Oh, you was trying to get somebody trumped up on some bullshit ass charge. Yeah, I mean, shit, again, you get some motherfuckers that be sitting out here really thinking they doing some shit. Like, if you gonna be out here doing a fucking crime life shit, you gotta be at least able to outsmart the motherfuckers. And more often than not, these motherfuckers is not more than capable of doing that. Not even to mention, like, when it comes to, like, whistleblowing and shit like that, you gotta know your opponents before you start going against their asses. You got to know the methods and tactics of what they're going to use whenever it comes to it, because they need your ass more often than not. The major go-to education, where you live, your mental health. Okay? Because your mental health is affected, then they need you to be thinking very illogical, very emotional. You know what I'm saying? It used to be once upon a time that they could use fucking religion. Shit, if you ain't fucking religious, shit, I'm spiritual before I'm religious, so that religion bullshit ain't gonna work on me. Because at that point, now that they are at full force violation of your 1st, 4th, 13th, and 14th fucking amendment. That's a lawsuit in itself. They know it. They just feel like the people that they fucking harassing don't fucking know that. I'm a Christian. Okay, what the fuck your Christianity got to fucking do with you arresting me? Because this seemed like harassment. I worship the motherfucking Quran. You ever see when it's time for them to go arrest or do something or pull a fucking Amish person over? Do you feel like that they gonna fuck with a person that's private citizen? They gonna give you a hard time. But then it's like at the same time, they know they got to let you go. Once you present if you a person of color and you're a private citizen, your job is just to show them every fucking piece of document. But before they touch you, hey, is that camera blinking red? I don't see your camera on. But at that point in time, if you're not a person at this day and age and you don't have those dash cams in your car, shit, they going to get away with this shit. So it behoove you, like I said, if your license and all the rest of that shit ain't fucking working, have a dash cam in your motherfucking car to avoid all that bullshit. Make sure, even if you're sitting there getting ready to buy a brand new car, shit, more often than not, these car places, these new cars places where you purchase and stuff at, get you a dash cam. Make sure that bitch is active. At any given time that they come in and you need to turn that off, that's an intimidation. And they already coming over there with ill intent. You already know they coming with ill intent. They coming with ill intent. They coming to do something else, that they ain't got no business doing. More often than not, they going to be doing shit that they ain't got no business. The biggest part of this situation too, when it comes to people, trying to falsely report you or accuse you, they're going to have to sit there and prove to a point how they know you, how long they've known you, where have they known you from. Because if a person is trying to report that I've had 10 minutes of sitting with someone is not enough to know someone. Having an outsourced experience with someone, I know them through that right there. You can sue a person, defamation of character, even down to whoever took the report. If the person took more than, say like an officer takes, you find out that there were false police reports on you, right? you have a right to go ahead and go request those documents, you or your lawyer, which you can do it yourself. And they're going to try to, like most police departments will try to pull the fact that, oh, you need to be a lawyer in order to request it. No, the fuck you don't. It's your name and your social security on that fucking paperwork. It's your information at that point. So these are people that I tell you all the time, if you need to know certain, precincts may have different procedures or delays for somebody. If it takes them more than 2 days, 48 hours or 72 hours, or they'll tell you 3 to 5 business days. That's why it's always important to go file for the paperwork on a Monday or a Tuesday, so you can make sure you have it by Friday, no later than that next Monday, because that'll allow them to go do, reverse or try to change the paperwork and stuff like that. When they go to try to change that paperwork, now even then with them changing that paperwork, their initials still have to go on there, and it's still dated in the system because a lot of stuff is computer system used. They'll use that type of situation to change the information about what they said about you in that paperwork, but still with everything being electronic, it's going to show and prove exactly what it is that they did. It doesn't matter. So at any given time, like the day that you go in to request any type of documentations, on that day, those paperwork, whether it's medical, police reports, or whatever, nothing is able to be changed at all. Even if they go back in, they will have to wait that 3 to 5 business days whenever you go in to do admin work. And as a person that did that shit, the luxury, the beauty of fucking working for S1, you learn a lot of shit. And that day that you go process that paperwork is the day that no more alterations or changes to that paperwork is capable of being done. Whoever is screen recording the phone right now is probably sitting there. I'm talking about somebody 45 motherfucking hot. Like, how the fuck? Hey, I just got to put people on the game, because it's like a lot of people think it's a game till it's not. They got to get creative of how they're going to, try to devise a plan to go to rebuttal that type of situation. So you have to know more or less the mental, psychological, the emotional, of what they're going to look to try to use to counterfeit the things that you do. And more often than not, when it comes to like your medical records, when it comes to the law records, driving and stuff like that, you got to know more or less of what you're doing. Welcome. So whenever you pay attention to those type of things, you'll know more or less about who's doing it, how they were doing it. Also the community, the environment you came from, shit, most of the time, more often than not, who you dating, who you hanging out with, you got to know their habits. If you don't know their habits, then at that point in time, you're dealing with people who are actually around you that can actually be working against you, whether you know it or not. And when you do not know exactly who's around you, that's why it's like when I was dating a person, oh, okay, that's how you moving. Okay, I wouldn't do that though. But I'm not going to tell you what you're supposed to do. I wouldn't recommend, that's who you, more or less, that would already allow you to know how they move in, what they will do, who, what they would go for. And it's like, some people are like, that's judgmental. You can call it judgmental, but I call it safety. And I want to make sure that I ain't caught up in some bullshit that ain't got shit to do with me. Or if I'm going to get caught up with some bullshit, I want to make sure that someone don't falsely turn on me or use the type of people that they're using or chilling with or kicking with or shit. You know what I'm saying? If they got a particular lifestyle, more often than not, shit, are you dealing with male gigolos? Are you dealing with escorts? Those are the lowest of the fucking totem pole. Nothing against it, but however, when they choosing that lifestyle, that comes with the territory. That literally comes with the territory. So for me, automatically, oh, you a stripper? Oh, you escort? Oh, you do that sugar daddy, sugar baby shit? Oh, okay. No judgment, no harm and foul, but I already know what comes along with you. It's no judgment shit. You got to get it how you live. However, I know what comes along with that. Chances are they're not going to be loyal. Chances are they don't really care about the friendship. It's about the money. Chances are, depending on how old they are, if they family or they come from families that do that shit or used to do that shit and they run into the church, more often than not, you're not a candidate. If they got kids, depending on who you're dealing with currently at that point in time, the behavior will show you. If they more often than not, if they dating doctors, lawyers, teachers, businessmen, police officers and stuff like that, and you know the type of other stuff that they do on the side or on the low, More often than not, they just know that it comes along with the territory. Oh, he like to fuck with female cops on the low and nobody really know. Oh, he fuck with nurses on the side. Okay, more often than not, whether you know it or you don't, you're not 100% sure or well versed in it, which you ain't got to be versed in it. More often than not, and you find yourself after a breakup or y'all get into it and you find yourself with heavy issues with that. More often than not, you gotta remember who you was kicking it with, who you was vibing with. The company you keep, right? That's the true definition of the company you keep. Because the company you keep is the same fucking reason why you be deep in some shit that you have no business being in. Okay? If you know somebody that do like that insurance stuff and they like, yeah, I be doing those insurance jobs, or you know a situation is a Ponzi scheme, they gonna scheme you. Simple math, simple psychology. There's no need to, oh my gosh, why is this happening? No, more or less shit. For me, I was just like, damn, that kind of hurt my feelings. Like, I'm really upset. I'm really angry. Like, why would you do this to me? Like, I wouldn't do that to you. Why would you do that to me? So it's just like, it's too easy to figure out who's doing what. Oh, they messing with nurses on the low. They messing with that doctor on the low. Okay. Do you go to that hospital too? You know, more often than not, they go, oh, they're a big time doctor here in this state and they travel and they come do this. You know what comes along with it. There's no secret to it. But like I said, also, you know, at the major part of the time, more often than not, the music world and, you know, the tricking world, I guess you could call it tricking, stripper, whatever, plastic surgeon, they into that hoodoo and voodoo. They into trying to go ahead and stop you from what you doing. Business is going great. Y'all cool. Long as y'all was cool, y'all business going great. But as soon as shit start going left, all of a sudden, like, damn, why my business going down? Why did this stop slowing down? It's about the people who's around you. Either they're paid to do that or they don't know that, or you know, they could have stopped kicking it with these people and these people want to get back at the person or people who you're around, and those people that they was dealing with in the background, whether they told you or not, those people in the background are sitting there doing their background shit to you. Because the person who's around you, even though they may not be doing this stuff no more, they might not be hanging with these people, kicking it with these people, they might not be trying to break bread with these people no more, unbeknownst to you or unbeknownst to that person. They got to remember, the company you keep is the reason why you reap the shit that you got going on in the streets today and stuff like that. They'll play in your face. Like, if did they ever played in your face about some shit, now they're not able to feel no type of way, because the same people they brought your way going to be the same people that's going to get in their way to go fix the things that they got to do. So it's just basic common sense. The company you keep be the reason why you reap or cry some shit today. That's why it's like a lot of shit where people like, oh, she ain't gonna know this. You sure? You sure? It's just the beauty of it is you haven't brought it to me physically yet. However, once we get that shit physically, this shit is surgical. I ain't no surgeon, but this shit get real surgical, because we could get to the nitty gritty of it. And before we go ahead and figure out which people in the group of people that we're going to send out, more often than not, if you're black, they're not going to send in your black people first. If you're black people gonna be subtly, more often than not. It's gonna be less than 20 people surrounding you, but the other people will be other surroundings. If they feel you got a very strong hate, or like you will have animosity, or they need you to create an animosity. Like right now, they need me to be like, oh, I hate Spanish motherfuckers. I ain't gonna deal with them. Da, da, da. I hate black motherfuckers. You right. In order to hate them, you gotta love them. But also, when you got the hate and love shit, you know how the fuck they operate, right? So more or less, when you already know how they operate, what's the best thing you can do to take their ass down with their own fucking crime they do? Know how they operate, right? Know your opposition. If you do not know your opposition, whether you made the opposition and you wasn't looking for them to be in opposition, the worst feeling in the world is the person that try to create you to be a villain, keyword, attempt to create you as a villain. They will hate the fact that you can figure them out of their next move that they're going to do. More often than not, they operate out of hate. They operate out of envy and jealousy. So it's only so many behaviors and tactics that come along with that. There's nothing good that's going to come behind it. But more often than not, they're going to wear a mask to try to attempt to cover it up. They can cover it up from other people that don't know how it works. When a person don't know how it works, you're going to naturally be blind to what it is that they're doing. More often than not, people ain't gonna say nothing, because why? Because it's not happening to them. Now, when it's starting to happen to them, well, how come ain't nobody tell me this? How come you didn't pay attention to how the fuck strategically they had you to do the shit to somebody else? I don't know who's doing this to me. You sure you don't know? You sure? Shit. Stupid is and stupid does. Monkey see, monkey do. I guarantee. Duck. This ain't duck, duck, goose. Okay? This is no different than that type of situation. If they can get you to do it, what makes you think that they wouldn't do it to you too? Logic would say that. But these are people. I'm logical. I do have emotional intelligence, but you're mad whenever someone sit there. When you're right, right? If you're wrong, you're wrong. A person that got emotional intelligence shit, if you tell me something ain't right or is wrong, okay, tell me how, where I went wrong. Is there a solution to it? Or I'm going to be an emotional, mature person and be like, okay, well, shit, I am capable of working on that. Okay? And with that type of thing, what am I able to do? What's the most effective way? It ain't going to be something that happened overnight, or it's possible. What's the most effective way? Because constructive criticism is a thing. But however, these are people that don't like to have criticism. They could be the critic, but they don't know how to accept the criticism. See, this is also those type of people that they love to keep low key about what it is they're doing. Well, we banded together. If you said that you was going to help us cover this up, remember? Shit, I helped you with your immigration. You could help me with the stuff to keep the shit going on from your church, Billy. Like, shit, if you fucking did it, you did it. Don't sit there and feel like you're brave and you working in the church and try to hide behind the church, because the church be behind more fucking killers than not, whether you know it or not. Especially the highest fucking killers you could ever fucking meet are those who try to keep quiet that they messing with kids, trafficking kids, or do drugs on the low. Also, they invest in prostitution. Those be the motherfuckers that will pay for motherfuckers to unalive your ass. And depending on if they swear they telling you their testimony, pay attention to the testimony. More often than not, they don't like to repeat it to the congregation if they already, said their testimony. Unless they got like an influx of more than like 50 to 100 people that join their congregation, then you might get a chance to hear them bring up their testimony of how they became a pastor. However, they'll usually do that whenever it's like they're a guest speaker at another church or something like that. Okay, y'all, we're going to have deacon such and such or evangelist such and such be here at the church. I got to go show up at this church, or, stuff like that. And the only reason being why, if the right people are in that shit, intuition tends to say you're going to be able to point out what type of dirty shit they're involved in. I'm here to talk to the men's. Shit, the church is a church. If we in this shit together, shit, both of us going to be in here. Let me talk to the women. Shit, you can talk to the women while they're in there. Because that's how, like, you're meant to do that shit together, both of them. I'm going to do a women's sermon. I'm going to do a man's sermon. The moment that you start giving the vibe, that's the more that you go ahead and planting bullshit in people's mind. When you're sitting there, marriage things, that's the things. Now, singles, that's a whole different ball game. You see? But it's just like, people will take advantage of the situation when they feel like you are in a vulnerable state. When you are in a vulnerable state, that is usually how it goes. Also, you got to be mindful about relatives and stuff like that when they jealous of you or envious of you. Shit, I'll try to get everybody against you if I'm jealous and envious, that you can go ahead and get a crowd of people to listen to you with facts and truth. But more often than not, some people gather a lot of people based off of lies and deceit. However, you're going to spot lies and deceit because what's the first run to? That's bad. That's blasphemy. They can't be talking like that. What you mean they can't? Can't means to say that you're not capable of. Or is it that you're upset that you're a liar, you're a deceiver, you're a thief, and then some? I know you are, but what am I? Type situation. These are people that do not handle being called out or put in their place. I'm an elder. I'm grown. Are you sure? It seems like your trauma of what happened to you when you were 20 years old is showing, and you're damn near 60, 70, 80 years old. It's showing. You're not 20 no more. Living your glory days of how you used to do it. And it ain't going to fly. If it don't apply, let it fly, right? So if it don't apply, let it fly. Go ahead and fly away. Don't be a roach or a fucking insect or a pestilence into a situation to try to press or impress people with impious sentiments that's irrelevant. You see? That is like forcing your belief on somebody else. Oh, I don't listen to them because they don't believe in this. I'm going to go tell the police chief. You mean you're going to go make up a lie? Turn to sender. These are people that be jealous, like, oh, you have beautiful children, or you got well-behaved children, or you got free-spirited thinking children. Shit, rebuke them in the name of the Most High and allow them to go, do what it is that they do. Because it's somebody right now, they're watching, but they feel attacked. Like, why would you feel attacked if you wasn't doing anything wrong? And I delivered this message with so much tact, I don't even feel like I use too many F-bombs as I usually do. That's the beauty of this situation. That's crazy work. Hey, God works in mysterious ways, they say, right? But yeah, that's usually how it goes. Car tags, police and stuff like that. You got to know how the police, highway patrol operate. Certain judges and stuff like that, all those things, impulsive decisions. You got to know if you're dealing with people that are super impulsive. You got to sit there and pay attention. Are you dealing with doctors who got ill intention? You'll know the doctor have ill intention by the way that they're moving away around you. If you sitting there, you talking to your doctor and you're expressing yourself about, hey, your concerns or things of that nature, and they sit there and make it their business to try to ignore you, and it's like, no, 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 it's nothing like that. The moment that doctor be like, no, 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 it's nothing like that, it's exactly like that. It's exactly like that. Because they're, as soon as they can feel like that they're stopping you because they are no longer able to persuade you to think in a particular way or sway you to do that. Well, I'm actually looking to help you. As soon as they hit you with that verse or that line right there, baby, just know, go back and look at your medical record later that day and go look at whatever they put in the doctor's report. I'm 100% everything that you said, you did, what you wear, how you presented yourself is not going to be anything that you did, said, behave, or what they put on that fucking medical report. I'm pretty sure. And my experience is always, oh, they were unkempt, or they appeared sad or depressed. I'm like, I'm not nowhere near sad or depressed. Like, that was their go-to when it came to certain parts of my medical record. It was always, oh, it seemed like they were sad or depressed or stressed. It's like, if I was stressed, I'm just asking how to process or make sure I'm processing something effectively or efficiently. They were very impulsive about those things, but they will fail to report certain situations. And it was like, more often than not, in relationships and stuff like that, they'll take those factors. They'll reach out to old people that you had as benefactors. Like, if a hospital, in my experience, the Veterans Affairs would go as deep as, so you don't have so-and-so as emergency contact no more. If I deleted that shit over a year ago, how were you able to pull that up? You got to pay attention to certain stuff like that. If I haven't had this person on there, that's how you know they're doing HIPAA violations already. The moment that they sit there and ask you and they feel like you're not paying attention to key details and you get ready to stop them in the midst of it, that's where they already starting the grounds. Major part of it is, like, I have my notifications set on my VA, my Veterans Affairs app, to go ahead and send me emails or notifications that, I sent the message or I got a message from there. They are already making sure that I don't receive those notifications to allow me to know that they replied or that, certain things were updated, because they'd be like, oh, this 36 hours of updating, medical or lab reports and stuff like that. Right there and then, when you go back and look at your reports, I highly suggest that you screenshot it and stuff like that, that they're changing stuff. And then at this point, for me, it was more like, officials covering up, and the medical labs and the Veterans Affairs and stuff like that, trying to cover up their parts of trying to block my communications, trying to block what it is that I was saying, trying to, attempt to make it seem like, oh, she's erratic. She has, she's not thinking right. Someone is probably sitting there like, nah, her state of thinking is very rational. Now, where is this coming from again? You got to start asking questions about certain things, people's behaviors that are behind certain things. If at any given time, like say it's social media, and this is one of my outsourced, this is how you know you're being screen recorded for one. Two, you if you're looking to figure out, is it your local PD, is it sheriff, is this governmental, or is it like legal, or if it's your own personal family or people who's around you. If your views are under 54 views, and it seems like no one is liking and things like that, they're illegally watching you, surveillancing you. They wanted to keep control of who's watching you, who's listening to you, especially when you're doing it during legal proceeding hours. You're going to know more or less, are you being controlled? And in my situation, this is very much so controlled. It could more likely be from like a judge. Right now, it's either a judge, a lawyer, or somebody in a law firm. If not, real estate, or here where I stay at. So that means the internet or my telephone company. So someone has access to that. In order to do that, you're going to need like legal paperwork for that. So those people, and then it could also be Veterans Affairs, but it's definitely either a lawyer, a judge, real estate, or where you live at, that are trying to control what it is that you're saying, especially during legal proceeding hours. Because God forbid that your stuff goes out and it circulates during legal proceeding hours, and people know that. Someone could have their clerk, their admin clerk that works at the circuit court, that submits the paperwork or the legal documentation. Somebody's front office or front admin, somebody do administration paperwork or legal paperwork or something like that. That's who they use to get notified. Like say if the judge is on the bench and they don't have time to come pay attention to you, or whoever it is that you have your ambitions or your issues with, or these are people who have issues with you and they need to suppress you, they need to intimidate you, they want you to more often than not, they need you to feel discouraged. They need you to feel like, no one's listening to me, it's not going anywhere, I only got 3 views. Actually, you didn't. If you see people coming in and coming out, it goes from you got 1 viewer to 0 viewers, and then jump up to like it's 10 viewers, back down to 0 viewers. That means you're being controlled. Okay, that means that's government, that's law, that's legal. Those people more often than not, or they're gonna play this bullshit. Or we're gonna put a like in there so she doesn't get suspicious. Like it's the dumb stuff. It's the dumb shit that actually counts. But when it's going on and it's an ongoing, open, pending investigations or situations of such, you will know more or less where they need you to stop speaking. They will want to like force situations of you feeling like, oh, this is not going to work, this is not going to be for me, redirecting. If you just got to know who are the people surrounding you at the time that is causing you more issues more often than not, to know exactly what type of issues you are facing, especially if you're speaking on certain stuff that is doing court hours. And more often than not, it's the people who are doing illegal stuff against you, and they know they're not able to they know you speaking will prove the fact of what you're saying is correct. Those are the people who are trying to pay that. In my situation, I got Veterans Affairs, the doctors from there. I got illegal situation from Puerto Rico. I had the same situation of what happened at the Days Inn Hotel off of OBT in Orlando. It's also Orange County Sheriff Department, Osceola Sheriff Department, also the Department of Children and Families. So this is like major people. Then also it was people that left me money and stuff like that. So-called relatives, aunts, uncles, cousins, and things like that. Those people were involved. And of course, them still trying to cover up the death of my baby boy, my son. And then also them attempting to cover up the illegal forced abortions or miscarriage, whichever one they try to put on there. And they doctored those documentations to try to say that I was like a carrier of some certain diseases and stuff like that. So HIPAA violations, medical malpractice, also the stalking cases. So, them not taking any of the police reports of me calling. So like the situation is federal at this point. So them attempting to cover up, or people, stealing the money from when they did run, the thing about veterans, women veterans and stuff like that. Someone stole money, on top of that. So this is like a major type of situation where, they felt that it was funny, and then it was more people from the Veterans Affairs than anything, because most of my stuff I do via the Veterans Affairs. So being targeted, it's a thing. Being a whistleblower, it's a thing. However, who wants to be found out about participating in crime, in causing certain things to a person's reproduction? Who wants to be, charged or accused of being a shitty doctor and being part of organ harvesting? Like, when you can prove when you're right, you're right. However, I'm a firm believer, don't ever speak on something when you know you're not capable of backing that up or showing them sufficient effective ways about how that situation plays out, what it looks like. Don't ever speak on that. Shut up. You're in your best interest of keeping quiet. However, when you know what you're talking about, start speaking up on it. However, in this day and age, when you start speaking up and it has to deal with particular people and legal systems, you need to know your rights. You need to know constitutional. You need to know the ins and out, where people be like, I know the system. No, you know how to manipulate the system. You need to know and understand the system. More often than not, people know how to manipulate that situation. However, when that situation get ready to come back and bite them and they tell, they don't know how to sit there and be like, hold on, but I didn't feel that they was going to come back and try to sue me because you got too much, food stamps. Yeah, they could get you for that. You didn't feel that you took up your program, you opened a 501c nonprofit, but you're making profit. How are you getting profit and making this type of money? That type of situation got to be explained. Medicaid was, like, once upon a time, a program for nonprofit because it was meant to help the impoverished people to be able to get medical care. So more often than not, when people are not paying attention, more often than not, people of Medicaid recipients get robbed, get destroyed, get taken advantage of. Because why? More often than not, you got more women, single women, or mothers that are left to be single parents getting taken advantage of. You don't see it, so it's too easy to throw somebody in your face. And once they feel like you're rising and you're getting in a place where you're getting off the system and they know they benefited from you, whether it's from your blood, your knowledge, you being a recipient, them having access to be able to illegally pry or spy into your life when it comes to your other relatives. Like, a lot of people don't know, if you're a Medicaid recipient, and at any given time, regardless of what your nationality is, right? At any given time, shit, you could have been born in 1932 for all I give a crap about. And your family were recipients of Native American rewards. You was on food stamp welfare, Section 8, whatever, right? And you had brothers and sisters, uncles and and stuff like that, and family that was on Medicaid. Once upon a time, I do not care if you could have the highest fucking PhD right now. That don't mean crap. At one point in time in your life, you were a recipient of Medicaid, Section 8, Social Security. You got those type of benefits, right? And when you got those benefits, the benefit of the government to be able to do certain things is, the longer you're on it, the more access I have to your criminal relatives. Uncle Joe used to always be a booster. Well, with him being a booster and he always going in and out, right? That's no different than me telling you that eventually they build rapport. Eventually they're in and out. Shit, they can end up doing a 4, 5, 10-year bid, but they're comfortable. They don't have no issues. They go in there. They ain't getting touched on. They ain't getting harassed. They ain't getting beat up on. Nothing like that. They come in. They got protection all of a sudden. It's like, so if I get locked up in the pen, in this state pen, so you mean to tell me I got protection or whatever? That was part of the program. A lot of people who don't know about that program, I've been knew about that. Because Uncle Jesse, before he got, I want to say that man got killed though. He would talk about it. He was a Black Panther. And with that situation, I would be like, oh, shoot. So, more often than not, once you come out, you want to stay out of jail. You don't want to be bragging about being in there or going in and out. And it was Jesse, even though he was like, when I say he went to prison for unaliving his girlfriend's son or something like that. He did some kind of weird nonsense. However, he was the one to say, he's like, once you go in, it's pretty difficult to get out. However, the programs that they set for us, and especially for, he was like, for us Black folks, our brown folks and stuff like that, or anybody of the Spanish or Indian community, They took advantage of the fact of them going in and out, but however, the advantage of the situation, they figured out more crimes and stuff like that. It ain't like they was snitching. They would just use them to analyze like how you do your operations. So how they will use them on how they use their operations to figure out how they can cover up more of their own personal crimes to get away with stuff. But they also knew that they were useful, and the fact that they knew they were useful, it made it easier for them to be like, well, shoot, you remember when I helped you get out of prison last time, right? So you could give me a favor and tell me who's on that Section 8 program, or she became an RN, that type of stuff. That's been going on for a long time. But more often than not, I remember him telling me, he said, if a man just keep going and going for stupid stuff, he in there trying to get back to the boyfriend, the dude he really in love with. That's who I learned it from. I was like, any man that just keep just going to jail, going to jail, going to jail, he in there trying to get back to the man. He need his fix from the man, and he know the man that he got out here in the streets, he got paid for it. And then, when they got broke behavior and they don't know how to keep money in their pocket, what's the next thing to do? I need my fix to go get the dudes that they want, or the dudes they want to do things with. They get themselves locked up in the prison of the boyfriend or the whoever they feel like they real close to, or they always on the hunt to find, the man that they were locked up with before. That right there, it ain't no coincidence. More often than not, they just struggling to tell you if they, on the rainbow community or not. And then also, if it's not that they looking for them, it's a correction officer, probation officer, a bail bondsman, or it's a police officer that they mess with on the low. So depending on how they moving and what, like shit, you could look at a person when they get out of the jail and stuff like that, and it's a particular arresting officer, or it's a particular officer that's submitting the paperwork. Also, more often than not, if that officer had to do certain things, like if you had to do an investigation, and it's an officer that either arrest them or release them, or a releasing officer, and they just so happen to be on schedule when it's time for them to get released or go in, and they be messing with each other on the low, just go see if that computer or that officer that got in trouble or something like that, see who's the cybersecurity person for their computers. Once you know who the cyber security person is for their computer, shit, you're going to know everything you need to know. You're going to know if they've been talking to other police officers, COs, church, and stuff like that, especially if they men. And then you can figure out what they're down low or trapped in the closet, secret boyfriend or girlfriends inside the prison and outside of the prison. You don't know who they deal with on the low. If they be paying for it, or they're a CI and stuff like that. Like, it's stuff like that. I was taught that as a little girl. I want to say by the time I was going to Douglas Elementary when I started learning about that shit. But it's like more or less, based off of survival tip, because people be sitting out here swearing that, they survive, or they hood, they doing this in the street. You sure? You sure? Because if I figure it out and I got to tell you how to do your shit appropriately and how it works, you ain't doing a great enough job. I'm just going to allow you to see what you're going to do, how far you're going to take it, and how far you get to take it. You don't get to sit, pick and choose how much of the information I'm going to release about it. However, you got to be smart enough how you release it, because it's more often than not, they're going to bring in the people who they feel like they know about this, they know about that. Yeah. Let's see if you're still bold enough, if you still do it. Like I said, certain places, food places, when you order for particular food places and stuff like that, and they trying to do like chemical stuff to you with your food, you'll know more or less. I used to test the theory. It's like, shit, are they still going to do it? McDonald's would be one place. Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, Popeyes is on there, Domino's. Who else? Sometimes, depending on in your local area, you just got to see wherever they allow police, or they give police discounts, that where they frequent, that those are going to be other places where they'll mess with your food. Like I said, if you see that they got hospital stickers, police stickers in there, those are grocery stores or stuff like that where you get your food from, which they low-key watching you to surveillance you to see if you come in, how often you come in, what you ordering and stuff like that. That stuff is very, very prevalent. You know what I'm saying? For this video, they're going to be trying to mess with it too. Also, music industry wise, pay attention to the music that they play. Whenever you go into the stores, the grocery stores, nail salons, you name it, just pay attention to what they have on the TV that day. That's very, very important too. So like I said, in my situation, they want to play like, oh, we're not controlling her. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you screen recording. It's a point right now. I'm at 0.23 seconds of delay. It's being screen recorded. Somebody's like, you're not supposed to know that unless you work for cybersecurity. I mean, if you get computers, you get computers. You know what I'm saying? If you get radio frequencies, you know what the frequencies, you know about the pixel delay, you know about those type of things. It's like, there is no other way. Like, this is also certain tactics. Say if there's a person that wants certain things to go their way, it's a control tactic. It's just a control tactic. It's like, don't ever give up on what it is that you dream and hope that you're going to have going for yourself without them, feeling like, oh, we're not doing that. Yeah, you are. It's Veterans Affairs, military, government, things like that, caught red-handed. But it's also somebody like, God dang, you know your stuff. I know what you know what you know how it goes, and you know what it is that people are going to do. But also, what these people will pay for is not going to be like very sufficient or effective about what it is that they're doing. It's just how they doing it. Because like I said, one of the main places of, like I said, when it comes to food and stuff like that, like sometimes I do have to be careful, but not all the time. Because it's like more often than not, I know exactly what to expect from it. And once you know exactly what to expect, you know what I'm saying, you're not gonna feel no type of way because you know exactly what to expect. Like if I order DoorDash and I pick particular places, they figuring out your habits, what you eat, where you eating from, and you just so happen to get sick or you start dealing with throat issues or congestion and stuff like that, or you know your bowels is acting up, just know they make sure you was touched. It's no secret to it. Or it's like more often than not, there'll be the people who knows that they did something wrong and they just like, why isn't this happening and why is that? Okay. If you feel like they're trying to make it seem like you're crazy and they're not controlling you, like I said, if you have anything under 100 views is going to be enough for you to know. Because I said more or less, like if it's 30 to 50 views or down under like 80 views, it's controlled. Your video, your message, or whatever it is that you're doing is controlled. Once you get past like 100 and stuff like that, then you don't have any issue. But more often than not, anything under 100, then you're not being controlled. But more often than not, it's controlled. So those are the hopes to go ahead and make you feel like, oh, they're losing their mind. They don't know what they're talking about. Anything under 100 or so views, or you don't ever find yourself making it past, like for YouTube, if you don't make it past anything to, or make it close to 1,000 views, more often than not, they're controlling you. They got to control the narrative of how many people get to hear you, what you're saying, what you talking about. Because guess what? I know for a fact the shit I be talking about, that shit is gold. It's worth a whole bunch of dinero, and I ain't Dinero Allen, to do his fuck shit. But hey, I ain't no Dinero Allen. But shit, Maldonado, shit, she was one of the girls' cousins or sisters that I went to school with. So it's just like, you got to know what you know when you know what you know at the same time. You know what I'm saying? Going with the flow and knowing how everything goes, more or less, they could sit there and try to play like the mind games and stuff like that. However, whenever you releasing videos doing the weekday and doing operation times of when there's court cases open and they can do those things, you're going to be controlled. They're going to screen record your phone. More often than not, shit, if I want to sit here and get the government and making sure like, oh, they're making a conspiracy, and that person's family is on there, shit, knock them motherfuckers out of the box real quick. Hey, I highly suggest that you don't do it unless I'm looking to get the heat off of me. I'm going to let these motherfuckers take the fall, especially if I know that, the feds is watching. I'm going to let these people take the falls. But I mean, logic would say more often than not, it'd be the master manipulators, like I said, churches, people that are admin and things like that. It requires you to have like, legal advisory in order for people to take the actions that they do. Because more often than not, if they don't have the legal advisory to do what it is, like we could peek in and see a thing or two, or we could do this and And most often than not, some people don't be knowing what they really talking about or try to cloak themselves to hide. For me, it's like, okay, Veronica, she was a Delta. On top of that, her folks were Masons and Eastern Stars. So shit, the benefit of the benefit is the beauty of it. And then having ties to political people in college and universities and clinical research shit. That's a major networking system, right? So, in order to go ahead and do those things, some people will feed off the fact, like, as veterans, they like to use the PTSD. More often than not, they feel like people deal with depression and all this other weird shit. And when they feel that they have you in that aspect, that's when they do that. So, more often than not, you start collecting on the people of what's their, like, if you don't know internet behavior, texting behavior, the style of how they do it at the bait and switch. If you don't know how they use like targeted like emails or social medias and stuff like that, YouTube more often than not, and they're like trying to make odd or rash like comments and stuff like that. That's an attempt, and that's a government tactic, police tactic that they use to bait people into for like triggered type of behaviors. And more often than not, the YouTube channel or the page that they're using is either going to be something they made within a month or to a year. Less than 1 year, more often. Sometimes every now and again it'll be a year. Or if it's like an old account that they made between 1 to 15 years ago, is literally going to have like less than, I'm give or take, less than like 40 subscribers. And when they have less than that, those are the baited trap type of accounts. More or less, if you go on there and the type of videos or the fake videos they have up there, you can tell if it's a military person, you can tell if it's a political person, you can tell if it's a medical type of person. Also, if you don't know, or if you're not too versed on what hitmen, psychopathy, sociopath type of behaviors, you're not going to know what to look for when you know that you're being watched from your hitman or from the person who's hired to unalive you. You're not going to know what it looked like. More often than not, you got to be a little bit cuckoo to know another cuckoo, right? That's what the fucking psych words used to tell us. They'd be like, you got to know crazy. You got to know crazy in order to recognize crazy, right? But you got to know sane when you see sane, right? And more often than not, you're going to see insanity before you see sane. And more often than not, it'll be those people that love to run to religion, but which religion that they're practicing is to be the ones that go ahead and tell you. Because I know when I start, as soon as I hit on religion, I can tell who's the religious people that's coming here. So it's a religious person trying to like persuade a court case. Like if somebody is in the church, it's an all men's group. Okay, somebody's birthday could be August, June, or in April or December, and they're hoping to persuade a case to go in a particular way. This is also someone known that they were supposed to bring something somebody's way and they haven't, and they've been attempted to like block it. This is also someone who's paying other veterans or other people, or they've been getting the advisory, or somebody's who could work for a church and they're getting their legal advisor person and military. So they got a legal advisor and they got another legal advisor that has like military ties or veteran ties, that they could know that it's either in the Air Force, Navy, they could be a gunman, so they could be part of like NRA or something like that, or a Pathfinder, a Scout, Navy SEAL or something like that, to block something. Like they could have worked in computers, comms or something like that. And with them, working with these people, which is like somebody could work for local PD and they can do something with lab reports. So somebody could be trying to like bring something in or falsely accused. And when they do these type of things, somebody's trying to get like somebody to do these certain things. This is the behavior. This is how it's usually going to go. This is also people that they will blackmail people on the low to believe certain things. They will give these people type of ideas like, you're going to do this. You're going to bring like, don't force nobody to do something they don't want to do. These will be people you shouldn't do it. Like, and you're the main person forcing people to do something that they should not be doing. And then in the whole, well, I got the money to do this. This is the surgeon. Somebody could have also like promised, because they're like a major funder to a hospital, or they fund like, when people work into a hospital. So, like when doctors work in hospitals, it doesn't matter what type of doctor it is. More often than not, they get foundations, grants, or they get gifters, people that donate monies to hospitals. And more often than not, the money will go to people that are the grants, or the donations will go to the surgeons or the surgeon department. The money can also go towards paying for more insurance coverage for the doctor that's doing like stuff on, like it could be for the medication, so the pharmaceutical department, the surgeon department, and then like if it's research institutional departments to do research on whoever those people are sick. Most often than not, you can literally look into the statistics. So like I'm in Florida, right? So statistics say Florida has a high rate of people with particular STDs, or they have a high rate of kids with autism, or they have a high rate of certain people with particular, behaviors, or they got a high rate of influx of people that are veterans, or, first responders that deal with PTSD, because first responders do deal with PTSD. Because, I mean, who wants to be a cop answering to a call and somebody literally, you're trying to talk them off the edge and you watching them complete and smash in front of your fucking face, or you putting out a fucking fire and you gotta rush into a fireplace and you watching people get burned alive because you're not able to get to that, but like PTSD type thing, right? And there are people that will leave grants and pay for particular hospitals and things like that. But you also have to be very mindful, because when you're doing those researches, you'll know more or less what type of grantors and funders that you have. Also, based off of those diagnoses, you'll look at, on top of those statistics, you'll look at who are the highest paid people living in your state. It's public record. The only thing that's not going to probably be public record outside of certain financial records is like what they deal with. But if you know more or less about behaviors, mechanisms, and stuff like that, you'll know more or less about those people who live in the state, about medical conditions. Then you'll know which hospitals in your state deal with lymphoma. You'll know more or less about doctors that do with the PTSD, back surgery, neck surgery, you name it. And once you know all of those things, you'll know more or less where the money flows is where the bullshit goes. There's no secrets of that. Yeah, Orange County was very prevalent about that. But however, thank you for allowing me to know that you're part of Orange County or Osceola County Sheriff Department, which they, we're saying that they have these special mental health units, but their units is not versed in it. They're not qualified. They do not honor it. They do not follow up, and they do not do their jobs. And the reason being, how I know that they don't do these jobs, they do not do recourse training. They do not sit there, like more often than not. If I'm a sheriff person and I work for the sheriff department, you more likely need to go ahead and make sure that you're very versed in what you're dealing with before you have any type of thing. If I'm dealing with combat veterans, one thing for sure and two things for certain: loud noise and drawing of weapons. That right there is a huge no to be able to de-escalate type of situations. That is the worst thing that you can do. Now, well, like you said, on a federal level, shit, feds know that. That's the worst thing you can do. That's why more often than not, whenever you see about certain drug busts and shit like that, shit, even on a federal level, shit, if the feds coming in, the DEA, ATF, you name it, they can have the whole squad coming in. Common sense will tell them like, shit, yeah, we know that we're coming in to answer a call with gun trafficking, but however, we're dealing with people that were trained police officers. We're dealing with people who are trained sheriff. Well, we're dealing with people from NRA. We're dealing with people who came from Veterans Affairs. But not only are they fucking veterans, they're combat vets. Not only that, I'm probably dealing with, am I dealing with a Vietnam? Am I dealing with Iraq? Am I dealing with somebody who was special forces or shit? One thing for sure, two things for certain: that hit ain't gonna fucking miss. That's for sure. Two, how many of these motherfuckers in this group? Three, if we trigger them and we already need to de-escalate and get them to submit at their own accord, this is like doing negotiation. This is no different than becoming a negotiator. I need to de-escalate as quick as possible, smooth as possible, as peaceful as possible to avoid any type of shootout, correct? To avoid any type of irrational behavior than what it is that I'm already coming in to take these people away from. More often than not, when it's an illegal type of situation or operation, they need to provoke you. So if I'm a federal agent and I'm sitting back and watching people of the government, I'm watching security teams, I'm watching police officer teams, and they doing everything in their fucking power to sit there to create loud noises. I'm doing everything to delay. If there ain't anything I don't know about fucking a person with PTSD, I don't give a fuck if they didn't even have to serve in the military. PTSD will sit there. You're going to get irritated because you need a response in that moment, right? That's the point of a crisis. When you're in a crisis, the last thing that you need is loud noise. The last thing you need is for anybody to be making quick, fast movement around you, because the most thing that you're looking to do is get yourself centered. All that quick movement, all you're going to do is cause that person, what the fuck is going on? More often than not, when you're bringing in federal people or people that are quote unquote are trained in this type of thing or in a mental health issues, you know more or less it's supposed to be one, but you keep, two other officers, but in the view, it could be up to two people. The third one is just in the corner and they keeping a distance due to the simple fact, just in case some shit go off. But the person who's approaching the person to like, hey, you're safe, we're here, talk to me. Hear me out. Your hand is not on no weapon or nothing like that, but your arm is still gonna cover your weapon. Just in case that motherfucker quick would wanna, take your shit out the holster, to always protect the weapon. That's rule, that's law. It ain't no other way. But the moment that they coming in with their hand on the motherfucking weapon, that's the moment where they're becoming the fucking aggressor. Not to mention it, especially if you have no weapons on hand and your weapons is all the way inside your house and you have nothing on you, and they're coming in with their hands on a holster, that you are already dealing with a hostile situation. More or less, more often than not, some people don't have cameras on them or they're not recording the situation, so they're not able to go ahead and file the appropriate or proper complaints on those people. Also, the delay of the medical care, which is very, 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 very important when you're dealing with certain mental health crises. It's very, very that you're responding quickly, and you got to know exactly what that person's dealing with. If that person is not versed or trained appropriately to know what they're dealing with, get down on the ground. Now you're dealing with assault. Now you're dealing with crimes. Now you're dealing with shit that now everybody that's involved, they got to get fucking arrested. They're going to have to get in trouble. Now that whole precinct is going to be under investigation into everybody. And I mean down to, it could be the littlest person that got to do inventory. And I'm talking about inventory, going over the list. Check, we got this. I don't give a fuck if it's a person, the janitor. You're going over the laws, the regulations, and how to handle fucking crisis situation. It's very critical and for you to know this type of situation. Also, you have to make sure that in those situations that you're not persuaded by any outside forces. Religion is not a way to persuade how you treat someone. Because shit, you could be a Christian all day. You sitting there talking about, can I pray for you? That is very disrespectful if you're going to sit there and do that to somebody that's Jewish. That's disrespectful if you're doing that to somebody that is Muslim or, Islamic or something like that. That's very disrespectful. Or you don't know if somebody do, practice Shah. You don't know someone's religious practice, so documented is you best friend. Yeah, you must know time, day. I've always said that. That's something that the military taught you, who you speaking to, the time that they come to you, the place, the location, what they wear, even if they don't want to give you the badge information. Oh, okay, shit. If you caught the last name is more than enough. He was bald-headed, he was short, give or take. You better know how to do a guesstimate about their height. Shit, they was less than 5'7" in height. You know how tall you are. You'll know more or less. They could be about 3, 4, 5 inches. If not, they about this guesstimate. They be as clear and specific and concise as you can be. Hispanic. They wore glasses. They had a mole on their face. It's very important to pay attention to detail, because more often than not, when they trying to cover their ass and trying to play bro code and this is the boys in blue type shit, more often than not, if you paying attention, you can tell if they were military came in, if they were a degree came in, or they went to the academy came in. There's going to be a little beef and rational into that situation. So paying attention to the detail. Was he bald head? Did he have a mustache? Did he have a goatee? Did he have a partial beard? Did he have a full beard? Was his hair shaved? You need to know what type of cut. Did he have a Caesar cut? Did he have a high and tight? Did he have a mid fade? Did he have a blowout? Like that type of shit is important. What did he have on a wedding ring? Did he have any particular tattoos that you could remember? That type of stuff is very prevalent. How many things like that shit, even then, before that cop pulled off, the cop cars have numbers on them. Okay, they can go back and try to tell the person, oh, we wasn't there. Dispatch is a different thing. You could, the time that they finished talking to you, they just finished talking to me at 5:10 p.m. on a Wednesday, July 23rd at 5 p.m. The car pulled off. This is the car number. This was the second car number. They pulled off at 5:11 p.m. The first car number pulled off at 5:11. Second car pulled off You need to go ahead and make sure you document them until they are at least, at minimum, 100 feet or 100 yards away from you, where you can no longer see that car. You clock every fucking second in the hour. Did they turn left? Did they turn right after they left you? And if you can't sit there and do that, at that point, they're going to be like, are you sure your memory is okay? Are you sure that you know what you're talking about? No, you need to be very, very concise and precise about it. Because more often than not, I'm not giving you my badge number. I'm not going to go get my sergeant. Okay, you ain't got to do all of that. All I need to know is what car number you had today. Okay, it was 3 of these motherfuckers. As y'all pulling off, I'm going to sit there and act like I'm getting my cool down. But in the cool down, shit, y'all got phones nowadays. Car this and this. I remember this name, Santana. I remember Johnson, Jones, O'Hare, O'Brien. Like, you got to sit there and make sure you got very concise details. This person had on this today. But if you're a woman, you better get well versed on what type of haircuts them is. You better be well versed on knowing what a goatee is, a mustache is, what type of the names of the goddamn mustaches. Is it a partial beard, full beard? What did he have a 5 o'clock? Did he not? Did he have on a wedding ring? Did he not? Did he have on did he have tattoos or whatever? Was it aggressive? Was it not? Shit, like I said, dash cams are very important. Nowadays, they're making the cameras where you can put it on your rearview mirror. You can put it on the back of the car. You can put it like, it can be very, shit, you can make him very, very, very discreet. Shit, it's all the way to a point that they got cameras. It might be very expensive, but I'd rather have an expensive camera knowing that I protected myself than sitting there running into a situation where they're sitting there creating bullshit for you and you're not getting the justice that's due to you. If you want justice due to you, you got to make sure that you cover all your bases and ground. I don't give a fuck if you a good guy, bad guy, whatever shit. There's good cops, there's bad cops. I'm still a firm believer, even though I might have been fucked over. A lot of people have let me down, and I'm not. My hope in humanity is shit, but it's like I got hope in myself. So humanity is not all the way dead, Rita. You're not dead, so humanity still fucking live. Oh, to lack love, shit. That means that I don't love myself. I love the fuck out of myself. So anyone trying to make me feel like I'm less than, lower than, you got to do way better than that. Because I know anything that I've said or spoke on from this tongue, from this mouth, has been nothing but facts. And I'm 100% sure whether it's been a good cop or a bad cop. 100% that it said, whether the bad motherfuckers be like, oh, I'm repulsed to this. Okay, you could be repulsed all day. Shit, I would want to pay somebody like, God damn, this would be a motherfucker that would just, it'll fuck up all my criminal career. Especially if you're doing something bad when you're supposed to be the person helping us to make sure that we can stay away from the bad. It ain't about you getting into the bad or being a bad person. I mean, shoot. Even a criminal job is to break the fucking rules and see how far it goes. But even then, shit, a real fucking organized crime or a criminal, they gonna have more fucking common sense that, hey, before I do certain things, is it worth the risk? More often than not, it's more fucking criminals out here. They looking to avoid to go to jail, but they know the shit that they're gonna do gonna put them in jail. But if I know how to keep myself out of it, it will behoove them in being of importance, a very big fucking importance, to know how the shit works. However, when you're in an unbiased situation, the benefit of the situation is, in every situation, I have took the appropriate route to do what it is that I need to do. However, oh well, we're gonna make her seem like she crazy, that we're, she's saying that they attempted on her life. Like, honey, I was left for dead. I ain't got no reason to sit there and try to say that just to get what? Empathy and sympathy for fucking what? No. The real is the real. Somebody came into my own apartment and y'all allowed it and y'all didn't say anything. I'm surrounded by fucking police officers. You mean to tell me, and all these people in this fucking neighborhood, like it's not one door that I've walked past yet in this neighborhood that ain't have a fucking camera. You mean to tell me ain't nobody in this goddamn camera didn't, they cameras, and they're facing towards the street, but they're not, as long as they're not facing towards someone's door. The craziest thing was to make sure that it's not recorded. I feel like it's very important to have your camera going and have it recorded, just in case they say something incriminated, which allowed me to know in this fucking apartments. I was like, y'all doing some shit or saying some shit you ain't got no business, and you don't want nobody to say that, and in the court of law, that shit gonna stand. So I was just like, more or less, you know what I'm saying, whenever they try to create contracts of, saying certain things, more or less what you're dealing with. You gonna know more or less who, what, how it's gonna go. Especially if you did pay attention to your surroundings, you'll get people saying, "Oh, I pay attention to my surroundings." Apparently, you fucking don't, because if you did, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. More often than not, these will be people that have to operate underground and get underground people to go down to do what it is that they do. But more often than not, when they feel like you the rookie of the police station, or they feel like you new to certain things, and they looking to groom you to be like, oh, you don't have to put that on the report. According to my training, when I came in from the to become a police officer, I do need to put this on the report. You a police officer, you starting on there, and it's I've been here for like 8 or 10 years. We don't put that on there. Just because y'all don't put that on there, according to the book and the alibis that I came in with, I gotta put this on here. I'm not fit to take no hit just because, Officer Troy, he's been here for 10 years. He told me not to do it, boss. Now when all the shit starts to hit, when it comes time for y'all to do reviews and audits and shit, well, such and such told me that I didn't have to. But what the hell they talk about? All I know is you could be against me. I'm here to do my job, not to be your friends, not to be buddy, not to try to be cool with you and for you to accept me to be, top flight fucking security of the world. But however, you're going to make sure you respect the fact that I do my work diligently, effectively, and efficiently. Period. How you feel outside of any of that has nothing to do with me. However, I know based off of the book, because we're going to do this by the book, not by crook, but by the book. By the book, it says that I have to type this in my report. By the book, I have to say that if I did such and such, right? These are people that you got to pay attention to when it's certain things. But like I said, in my situation, anytime that you know that you're getting less than certain views, you got to know, and you're hitting on certain things. And times have evolved. I wouldn't say that it changed. It's just evolved. It's just more, I wouldn't even say it's discreet. It's just, when you're not paying attention to the details, you will miss exactly what is happening. When you have open pending court cases or false charges against you, you'll know more or less with this age, which is we're in the digital era of digital footprint. You need to know when you're getting screen recorded, who you're getting screen recorded by, how, for what, and why. For mine, I got a major case for medical malpractice, HIPAA violation, premeditated unaliving. We also got a cover up for my son's passing at Metro PC. I said Metro PCS, so somebody could have purchased Metro PCS. That's government. That's a government ran program. But Metro West Apartments, Toronto Apartments, which is behind the Walmart in Metro PCS, close to Riley Street on the west side of Orlando. They tried to cover up the passing of my son. All of that type of stuff, that is major, major, and they, as they would say, allegations, major facts. Not to mention that they took, the organs from him at Honor Palmer. Before they take the child and they know that you're going away, they have to ask you, is there a particular hospital that, you need him transported to? And instead of doing that, they took him, of course, to the nearest one, which my children were already assigned to one. That right there was already, like I said, a major lawsuit in itself, right? So when you have those type of things going on, they're going to do their best to make sure they mess with you. The more the merrier of this situation is. If you are a Medicaid recipient, if they know that you lack family support, or they find out that you got family, like I said, if you were a Medicaid recipient once upon a time in your life and you get relatives that work at hospitals, police departments, they will use them against you, especially if they feel like you're the person that the crazy trauma happened to. They're going to go do their due diligence to dig in on other people to see if they are close to you. Are y'all friends and stuff like that? They will try to pay attention. Are y'all, do y'all got good relationships or not? More often than not, when they know that y'all not close and stuff like that, they will literally use those people to the biggest benefit that they can. Because they got to learn you. They got to learn how it is that you move, how you behave. Because what's better than learning from your own relatives, your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncles and cousins and stuff like that? Who's better to know you better than them, right? And when they feel that those people know you well enough, that's how they start to do those crimes against you, or try to, get your case dismissed, or they put certain things in place for you to not get the justice that's due to you. And more often than not, they will pay these people from certain state fundings. You may notice that they'll get increases or job promotions. It'll be relatives that that couldn't keep jobs, end up getting good jobs or decent jobs. Or it's just certain things that you have to start paying attention to. It'll be the small things that people don't pay attention to, that you gotta, know more or less exactly who's doing it to you, why they're doing it to you, and stuff like that. More often than not, if you are like a felon or something like that, oh, they're definitely paying attention. Like, if it's like you getting police reports done on you from relatives before, they use that against you too, whether you know it or not. And things like that, they'll go back to them same relatives like, oh, you remember you did a police report on this person? And as soon as they know that, it's like, oh, okay, so they're back hanging out with these criminals, huh? On the low, secretly, unbeknownst to them, they're tracking those people too. But they don't, what I'm saying? Seeing is believing, but most of the time, those people don't ever believe it or understand it, because these will be the people that they're paying on the low to, like, monitoring you, keep you from working, distract you. You know what I'm saying? What's better than to distract a single mom that needs help? I'm gonna send in this type of man, but unbeknownst to you, he's part of one of our programs, but he don't know he's part of the program, because to him, shit, it's a job, it's our job, it's money, I can get into this, or they'll make it as an organization. You want to become an Eastern Star? You want to become a Mason? Oh, you want to become, one of our group? It's one of our church groups. The church will help you. If you need medicine, this church program will help you. And more often than not, they start from the bottom. They'll start with the bottom. But you got to know exactly how they do those things, how they operate those things. And when you don't, oh, they got you. They straight got you, baby. But however, when you're smart, you do full observation. They're going to give people to run around. They're going to sit there and try to get people, like, when you start trying to go look for the paperwork to figure out what's going on. You ever notice that you start calling like, yeah, I'm just trying to see, is there any open pending court cases? No, why don't you go ahead and call this place? Oh, no, you need to go online to do this, when they can clearly tell you that over the phone. Or it's like, oh, no, you got to show up physically to the courthouse, or you got to go do this. They'll give you the complete runaround. When you start getting complete runaround and you finally end up getting there, like, because more often than not, the time where you finally run in where you do get some answers, it'll be a person that has nothing to do with it. And if you paying attention, they'll be like, well, I don't know why this was here. That's how you'll know if that person was involved or they had any ties to it, because it'll be like they'll be looking at something sideways, or When it's time for you to get the paperwork, you start looking at it, it'll be some back dates, it's a delayed date, or it's something that you needed to go to do it 3 to 5 days ago or weeks ago. And you'd be like, God damn, but I've been trying to go figure out, if I did have this paperwork, did I have this court date and stuff like that? It's done intentional. They need you to have a runaround, or you get distracted, or you get caught up at work, or you needed extra hours because you needed to go pay for this type of bill. A lot of those things is not nowhere near coincident. You're attempting to fill out paperwork to do your taxes, or you're looking to start up a quick side hustle or business or something like that. You're getting a delay when it's something that only take 3 days, and then something that take 3 days is taking like 6 weeks, 3 to 6 weeks. You be like, God dang, why it take so long? It ain't for a coincidence. I got to give you the runaround and delay you from you figuring something out, because they know it. They don't know when you hard up on cash. They gonna know when you need medical attention. They're gonna know. Okay, we need to get them distracted real quick, because we know if this person come up with this type of money to go ahead and go file this type of document, they're gonna come in and they're gonna do XYZ. When they know that you can come in and do certain things, and all it requires for you to have the fee money, these will be people that will do their fucking due diligence to slow you down, keep you from talking, keep you from going. All of a sudden, if you say you do have a means of transportation, your car starts acting up. You done finally came up with the money to be able to go, get your car fixed or whatever. And you be like, damn, I got the money to get the car fixed, but now you short on the money, where shit 3 to 4 weeks ago, if you got that stuff 3 to 4 weeks ago, the predicament you in, you wouldn't be having that issue, right? But all of a sudden, okay, dang, I got the car fixed. Let me go ahead and roll up here. Go pay for my let me go pay for my tickets. I clear off the tickets. I ain't got no issue. I can go ahead and change up this stuff. You think it's for a reason? You got to know exactly how they gonna do that. The more money you dashing out is the less money you have to go ahead and pay for the important stuff. It's a legal document you need to do child support. It's a document you need to do to do a name change. It's the document you need to go pay for the fee to, which I don't feel like you should be paying for Social Security or certain documents to get expedited, or your vital records, but you paying those fees, right? When they need you to do that, or it's like, dang, I need to have this extra money because I need to go to the hospital, or I need to purchase my medicine or something like that. You don't have the money to purchase for your medicine, but you got the money to go ahead and do all the other random stuff. But all the bills is paid. You just got the car fixed, but you don't got the money to go ahead and pay for that fee for your medications. It's not for a reason. They gonna keep fucking with your car whether you know it or not. They waiting to see, are they sleep? The lights is out. Okay, cool. You live on the other side of the building or where your car is at. You ain't gonna see them go mess with your car. You ain't gonna see them go mess with the spark plugs. You're not gonna see them cut your brakes. You're not gonna see them messing with the spark plugs and the fuse box. You're not gonna see them messing with your battery. You're not going to see them disconnect certain pieces, and you sit here, it's going to be $4,000 to fix this, and it's really a $300 job. You're not well versed in your car, because that's the purpose of them keeping those manuals in your car. When you got those car manuals and you buy a new car and the manual is in there, the point of the manual is for you to do kickstart and restart the car on your own. So meaning, like, it's no different than they be like, did you try everything before you come ask a question at school? That is like, no funny business, cars are dummy proof. Unless you just got a fully electrical car where you know what I'm saying, like the Teslas and those electric cars and stuff like that. Now you in a whole different ball game. But before then, like cars that are still manual, you still, use stick gears and stuff like that. That's why you should have bought a Honda, is the reason being because Hondas are very easy cars to fix. Like, you could go look at the manual. Like, literally, you can take apart a Honda and put it together. It's in the manual. So once you got that, like, okay, well, it says that this is connected here. Okay, it's like basically do an inventory over the car. And once you do the inventory, you'll know exactly what they either took out, cut, or try to add into to cause the starter to not work. Or if they cause the issue with the conductor, or if they caused the issue with the, the engine band, if they did something with spark plugs or the fuse box, you're going to know. You're going to know if they added something into your engine fluid oil. You're going to know if they added something into your gas tank. You're going to know if it's part of the filters or something like that. You're going to know. So once you don't know, and you don't know the full operation, or you don't have the time, because more often than not, you're in a stressed state. If you're in a stressed state, how can you pay attention to your full surroundings of what's happening, who did it, and why they did it, right? So more often than not, that's usually how it goes. You know what I'm saying? But somebody's like, God damn, what is it that you don't know? I don't know. It's just, you just got to know the legalities of how this situation plans out. And when you don't know, like, the more you know, the more you grow, right? And some people be like, yeah, you just a know-it-all. The more you know, the more you grow, right? Meaning you'll grow past the illiterate, immature behavior. The more you know, the more you grow. You overstand to understand exactly what type of behaviors you're dealing with, because you're less likely to have a reaction to the person's behavior. They need you to react. You're responding. Your response irritates the reaction that they wanted or they needed. More often than not, they need the reaction because they feed off of those things, right? Those are what they call energy vampires. They need for you to be reactive. It's a form of reactive abuse. More often than not, when you don't have the appropriate words to use in a situation, they can use that situation against you. If a lot of people didn't know what narcissism is, guess what? All you know is that somebody keep trying to pull you in to make you feel bad, make you feel sad, and then they try to pretend and play victim and make it seem like you're the problem. But if you didn't know that it's called reactive abuse, now you just say, this person keep doing. You don't have the word or the term to it. And the fact that you don't have the word or the term to what is happening to you, guess what? They're going to keep doing it to you, right? The fact that you keep getting pulled over and they keep doing certain things to you, and you don't know what actually happens on the inside, they're going to keep doing it to you. They need for you to be reactive versus you being responsive. Hey, exactly what's going on, or knowing what type of environment you're in, what type of city you're in, what type of town you're in. Are you in a city or a town where the police tend to be super aggressive? Hey, that just might be okay. What's the problem? You take to go do what they gotta do what they ask you to do, and you leave that shit at that. Especially when you know you ain't doing nothing wrong, you ain't got nothing illegal, you ain't doing nothing crazy shit. It's an illegal search. It's an illegal search. But are you smart enough to make sure, like I said, in this day and age, it's modernized. There's too many things in there. If you on fucking TikTok, don't TikTok make necklaces now where you can put a recording camera on that bitch? Oh, they gonna illegally search your car, but you just being compliant. Okay, you're not looking for you to provoke anything. I'm not going to argue back and forth with you with this bullshit traffic stop. It's a bullshit traffic stop. You know that they're going to try to pull some bullshit. So it's very, very important for you to use certain shit at your own discretion to make sure that you got your own type of cameras and stuff like that to go ahead and back up what it is that happened. So on that time and date for you to go do, answer to that traffic situation, or it's time for you to go answer to certain violations. Your Honor, I submitted to the discovery about this case, about what they trying to charge me with. Now you ain't got to come out there $400,000-$600,000 when now you could prove, hey, Your Honor, these were the officers that came that day. I know this was illegal, but however, I just wanted to comply just to save my life. I was in fear. You bring that shit in motherfucking court, there you go. Now they got a problem. Anything happening at that point, shit, now you got even more evidence and proof of this is a retaliation case. I wouldn't even care if it was another police officer telling on another, hey, they was retaliating against me. They came to abuse me. They came to force me to do XYZ, and I wasn't looking to do that. And they was stalking my family, harshing my family, causing me to do XYZ. It's more often than not, you want to know what used to be so fucking sad in the game back in the day as a kid? Watching cops kill other fucking cops just to get out of some bullshit. But it was just like the simple fact that they had to. It wasn't like they wanted to. More often than not, good when you see good. You just know whenever some people get caught up in some bullshit and you got to save your life and your family, because the moment that they already did do their due diligence at a point in time in their career to go ahead and report the people to do things, guess what? They were facing fucking retaliation. Okay, you want to be part of the boys? You got to prove yourself. Kill that prostitute over there. Yeah, we're going to want you. And then and more often than not, this shit used to be sad. More often than not, they will try to get them to do the y'all gonna have to work with me on this. They'll get these fucking motherfuckers to do the bitch work. And the bitch work is either turning them out to make them sleep with the same sex just to keep control over them. Whether people know it or not, it'll be fucking, they be good cops. But however, if I'm facing retaliation and my family is in danger, they're gonna force these motherfuckers to kill cops, prostitution, get them caught up in trafficking and shit. And sometimes you get lost in the game, but other times of it is like shit. If I already dealt with retaliation 4 to 8 years ago or 12 years ago, whenever I got into this situation, and shit, God forbid that this a person that came into the force, because I want to say you could be 18, between 18 and 21, where they allow you to become a cop, and you coming in at a tender age between the age of 18 and 25 years old, they fit to do you in. It's a forced submission. Oh, you want us boys, you gotta prove yourself. I used to see that shit like more often. You hear me talking about other things. I don't ever get a chance to talk about how I used to see these police officers have to do shit that they did not want to do. The law firms and shit like that, like shit, who are they? They don't gotta get their hands dirty. They're the bookworms, right? They're the bookworms. They cook the situation. They can make the shit look good on paper, right? But then when you want to be part of the good old boy system, and most people used to get it confused. The good old boy system used to be a racist system before it turned into, now we can, make our black groups, our Spanish group, but more often the black, Spanish, and Indian people would have to stick together. And then, you had your white people, then you got your white people that just fuck with everybody, right? But however, when it comes to them crimes and the type of situations, you got to know who you dealing with. I've seen it with my own eyes. It's like, damn, you a cop? You went that hard? You killed that motherfucker like that? But shit, she wasn't listening or whatever. And it's just like, yikes. But then at the same time, gossip get around, word on the street. And the stuff, goes out to certain people. You'll see, you end up, you find out more or less like, damn, they did try to file a complaint. And then when they did try to file a complaint, this is what happened to them. They brought the smoke their way. And you will hear it on the streets before you hear from like the other people that actually work with the police station. You will hear it in the, in the hood or the word on the street about people that, especially those who will pay for the cops and have the cops in their pocket, be like, damn, that nigga was getting ready to retaliate and shit like that. Like I'm hearing like the own people in blue will be retaliating on their own fucking folks because, oh, they told on Sergeant such and such. Sergeant such and such didn't like that, but Sergeant such and such got, full control or pull over the other 4 people. So now they bullying, the rookie or the new person who was just trying to do the right thing. Like, hey, I don't feel that was right. Them not feeling like, oh no, motherfucker, we have to make you the bitch of this situation. And when they get ready to do that, then they go ahead and add in. And then more or less, whenever they try to recruit the females in that situation, the females, more often than not, they be the fucking most roguish motherfuckers. More often than not, they used to have them pushing the paperwork in the office, or they do the computer crimes. And then, like in my situation, it was the female that would be like, I don't know who they are, and then they was getting the gigolos. It's single females that are cops. The white females and Spanish females is bad. The black motherfuckers be the ones trying to cover up the crimes, or they'll get caught up in certain shit. They're more likely to get caught up with like the strip clubs, the gun, like trying to control the guns, street stuff, and cover up those type of crimes. The other motherfuckers, the spam, they be the like they in everything. Like, single white female type shit. Like, I slept with one of these inmates and I did this for him and I'm going to cover up the shit. Like, you got to know exactly what they look like, they behave, the mannerisms. Even that they be trying to hide the shit, you know it by the way they look. You can tell it by the way they smile, how they talk, the pitch of the tone of how they speak, the type of audience that they have or the audience that they won't have. you'll know more or less of how they move. More often than not, like you could tell like the friends that they talk about, the events that they go to, the type of people that they were like is very noticeable to the people who like you gotta notice it. You gotta be willing to notice it. And then, when you don't notice it, that's when, they are able to get away with the shit. Like I said, right now, more or less is like my situation. These people ain't got no motherfucking morals. They taking it personal. It's money that they don't, oh, she don't deserve this. No, it's just money that you would never fucking make in your life. That's all that is. Jealousy and envy at its best, but at the same time, these are people that want to avoid being the motherfuckers you see on Lifetime or 2020, the CNN World News about, oh, this is what America do. This is how they treat their people. This is the type of crimes that they do. Right now, I know for a fact I'm being monitored by family, people that they're paying their own people that they know from college and stuff like that, from their old colleges and universities. And then this is also people from the police department, legal department, government, screen recording and watching the phone. Cause they really don't want this shit. Baby, when I say that they need your girl. It ain't no want, they need your girl. And it's like, y'all think I'm supposed to be cool with it? Like, nah. Justice will be served, and it's like, then it'll start going into you not getting mail, phone calls, text messages, and stuff like that. And in my situation, I don't get my mail, I don't get my text messages. They showed their hand when they pulled that shit with my Amazon stuff, and it'll be delivered through UPS, not the postal service, but UPS. I will always run into an issue with UPS, and I was like, it's crazy to believe UPS will be the one where I was going to the Affinity Hair Academy. UPS was one of the people in the group and company that was doing some illegal ass shit. And it was like the package that they brought, and it was like the guy was sitting there literally looking at me when he brought a package that wasn't for them and it was for me. I was like, y'all doing what you do. You're doing your big one. Then it went to a point where I saw them going up here to the front office, and I knew I was expecting a package from the UPS and stuff like that. Then it will be like they'll take my Amazon packages, and and then the beauty of it was they were sitting it right in front of the doors of the people who were stalking. I was like, if I didn't know how this went, and they need like pictures of it and try to use it later on as evidence, like, see, she was stalking at my door once upon a time. She opened my mail by accident. Which they'll do a mail swap by accident. You expecting the package. You're not thinking Amazon is going to get it wrong. You end up opening something by accident. That type of shit right there. And once I learned that, because I want to say the name is Hawthorne. It was something, Erica Hawthorne or some shit like that. And I just wasn't paying attention. I was like, damn, this ain't mine. But I ended up looking, I was like, this is definitely not mine. And I was waiting for my nail supply stuff. And then when I went to the door where the address is, I'm having to leave my house while they trying to come into my house. And I had to walk all the way around the building. Mind you, it's like literally, it's my door, then it's the door right here. And then if I had walked across the grass, their apartment is right there. So I'm looking at their patio. So when I come out and I look to my left, that's their patio. And all I had to do was walk across the grass. And then the door was right there. I was like, y'all, that's too close for comfort, right? I was like, this is how we get down now. I was like, that's a whole lot of too close for comfort for me. I don't like that. But it's just like, of course, the more quieter they are and they're just observing and they're just watching, that's when you know more or less that there's illegal surveillance in your area or your vicinity. The less likely that they're looking to make contact with you and things like that. You can tell, like at any given moment, like right now I'm talking, right? I can see where I'm talking, but I can see where it's delayed. It's screen recorded. So that means someone is mirroring the phone and they're watching and they're recording at the same time of what I'm saying. But that also leads to illegal type of surveillance where they can do, now with the artificial intelligence, they could use the AI. And if y'all pay attention to those ads on YouTube now it'll be like, have you ever heard about the pink salt, Himalayan salt things? If you've seen that ad at any given time, it was AI, because you can be looking like, why would Oprah be talking about some stupid shit like that? Or you go on TikTok and you seeing people with those videos. That's what they do with these type of videos. So with my video here, someone can go ahead and try to say, do an interview or something like that, right? they'll look for the video of where you're dressed more conservative or decent or whatever, or they need you to appear unkempt in a way. And with the artificial intelligence, like, and it's based off of you remember the Talking Tom app, like a long time ago? More often than not, it's based off of that. So whoever created the Talking Tom app is where the AI is, or they use Chat GPT or the Gemini app from, Google and stuff like that. And they can use it. I want to say it could be streamed on Google Meets. I'm not 100% on Skype, but I know you can use it on WhatsApp, Teams. Who else? It's other apps too. But I know Teams, WhatsApp, and other things. And they could use that as artificial intelligence. So what I'm saying here will completely be something different than what they're going to stream towards a person like, oh, we need to do a video conference, because they redirect your email, they'll redirect your calls, or they'll hack into your email and respond to the emails that you're actually supposed to be responding to. And they'll take this video and use it as, or they'll take this voice control and control it as they're responding to those other people. So that's why I be telling people, you got to be very, very okay. Like, if a person don't know how you genuinely speak or how you talk, like, you could tell when something is artificial. It's going to be a delay. It's going to sound robotic. You're going to also know by the way that, shit, if you don't know energy, that's why it's always important to know a person's energy. Like, you'll know when a person's trying to hide behind a fake profile by the way they type, their texting style, their approach to you. You'll know more or less. You know if you're dealing with a politician. You know if you're dealing with somebody who's a fake, church person. You can tell when somebody's trying to come in. You know your relatives. You know the relatives that you don't, because it's going to be a familiar type of energy, right? It's behavior, it's patterns. You will know it. And if you don't know, then what's the point of sitting there responding to something, especially when you know who it is? Like, it's a one female. She feels like I don't know who she is, but she works for the police department. I want to say she did dispatch, but she also she deals with convicts. Like, her power and control is over convicts. She deal with the hackers, the scammers. I want to say that she be knowing people that be doing those passports, IDs, and stuff like that. And I want to say she was friends with the first landlord I rented from, the Valle girl, when I was living by Central Medico. And then I want to say she also had ties to Osceola County and St. Cloud. But she did cybersecurity. But I don't know what way, but I was like I said, with dude, I couldn't help him even if I tried to. But he was so adamant to go against me. And it was like, whoever it was that he felt it was so new and didn't know who I was. And it's like, stupid. If you got involved in this shit and then all of a sudden they was so eager to help you with that shit, like, stupid. That person know who that person is. And of course, they're stalking me. They're harassing me. They're like, okay, you willing to go believe a motherfucker just because of what they can do for you. So that's when I had learned a long time ago, like, see how far a person can go, see the behavior, then you'll know more or less who hired them, how diabolical, how low down they're going to be willing to do you, how they willing to cheat or lie on court documents. Because I'm 100% sure with whatever court documents they got to bring to me, they know for a fact whatever is on those court documents, a lot of people will be in prison. And whatever they said on those court documents, half of those people didn't know me. And the fact that they didn't know me, that lawsuit makes it even better. Because I'm getting, for somebody can literally get I'm hearing 8.5 million per person. And a lot of these people ain't going to be able to do that. Trying to cash a check that they couldn't even fucking write on their best day or their craziest day. And these are people like, well, how much you going to pay with it by going to prison? That's why. Like, how much are they worth every day that they in their prison? And I want to say for certain women, depending on the crime, it's $100,000 per 0.5 of year served. So, like, you know how you get 0.5 days for leave. That's literally how much it is. So based on the term, or say like a person owe you 8 million, right? And they know these people are not able to do that, pay that 8 million. And depending on what they have to pay for every day of they stay, that's how they pay their restitution once they get out of jail or prison. The calculations of court fees and stuff like that, that's how that shit is paid. So if they end up, they owe you 6 million, they know that person ain't got no fucking 6 million to pay you back, right? So per the 6 million and per the time frame of what I will have to go ahead and put that person in prison for, right? It's 6 million. 0.5, so it's 100.5. So we got for one full year, that person is 200K per year, right? So we got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So we got 5 years. 5 years for just that 1 million. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Somebody could face 30 years based off of that crime of that 6 million that they owe you. Somebody could literally serve 30 years based off of that. God forbid that it was defamation of character. God forbid that they lied on a document that said that they jeopardized their life to serve 30 years based off of telling a lie versus telling the truth. Because they don't have the 6 million to pay you. So now with that 6 million that they got to pay you, I'm 100% sure the debt that they're going to have is going to be like 5,000 per the crime or whatever they were charged with. So this person will literally be paying over $75,000 for each crime or penalty that they have that they got to pay in restitution back to the state or the government or whichever one. So if they go to state prison or they go to the local jail, but if it's 30 years, they're going to prison. So that's how the calculation works, but it requires you to know the system, not working it to work against it or try to work for your benefit. You got to know the pros and cons of all the situation. Because like I said, certain cyber crimes usually hold anywhere for like 6 years. On a lower level, if they were not licensed and worked in certain places, you can get up to 12 to 75 years, depending on the type of crime. So if they were covering up crimes for trafficking of children, if they was covering up crimes for, kiddie stuff, that carries a major type of lifetime. But however, with the biggest part of that situation, word on the street is when it goes into on the inside, they're going to tear you inside and out. They not showing you no mercy. You did what with kids? They don't like that. Oh, you did what to somebody's kids? Oh, you was a doctor that did this to people in their kids? You ain't surviving. You ain't surviving. Don't sit there and base that shit on a lie when a person can sit there and back it up. Because shit, who don't got cell phones in prison these days? It's a motherfucker watching from prison right now. And they sitting there like, whoa, wait a minute. How you know how that shit, the ins and out of, if you don't know how to speak Morse code or color code in prison, shit, you gonna already be at a loss. The person that know how to color code and write the situation or information, and they wonder why, like, how they come in and they charged with killing kids, and it's like, shit, word on the street is, and on the inside, they got the right information, like, they ain't no kid killer, or they got set up by such and such officer. All right, more often than not, they're gonna take that person in, and it's gonna be like, okay, how can we figure out if you smart enough, you got intellect? I know, like, it'll be even worse. It's like, shit, we could go to the library. Shit, let's get busy, because there's nothing but law books in a prison. More often than not, some people don't take advantage of that situation because they don't want to read or they don't know how to read. Okay, or they don't have enough confidence in themselves to process what it is that they reading, and then the confidence of them to go back to resubmitting, to the court or getting appeals and stuff like that. They don't be feeling the confidence enough to do that. That's why when you get ready to get arraigned and do your certain things, we'll give you a court-appointed lawyer. Unless you sit there and say, no, I want to represent myself. When you choose to sit there and say you're going to represent yourself, that's when they know all hell breaks loose. And more often than not, if you're not a person already coming in with protection, they're going to be trying to do everything in their motherfucking power just to get you hurt. But however, word on the street is whenever it comes on the inside and they know on the outside, like, hey, this motherfucker, they got intelligence on how to get you off of this type of case. They know how to get you off on that federal case. They know how to get you. More often than not, they're going to be protecting you. Where, the guards and everybody like, why the fuck they helping them? Why can't I get away? And then, you still have your times or two where these, guards and stuff like that, more often than not, they do the R word on the inside. That's the most that they can do in hopes to degrade you. Because they need to cause you to do psychological, things like that. More often than not, some women, they end up getting pregnant on the inside like that. But it's just like, If you don't have self-confidence and you don't know how to heal yourself, shit, of course it's gonna break your ass down. That shit could turn you into a demon or it could turn you into a monster. But however, if you don't allow it to, make or break you, shit, you go in with the agenda like shit. If anything, it's gonna put fire into your motherfucking heart to sit there and be like, all right, let me go ahead and learn the law. Let me go ahead and learn this shit. And like now they sitting there looking at fucking inmates that do end up winning their cases. They sitting there looking at that situation like, God damn, that motherfucker was smart enough to go ahead and it wasn't that it wasn't smart enough. They just used their time wisely. They got smart enough to say, let me look into the legalities. Let me look into what type of charge I'm into. But also you got to look into certain perspectives and analytics of what going into with that access you have. But more often than not, depending on what type of prison you going into or jail, you they have more access where you can use the computers where it's monitored. But it's like shit, the jail prison be having more access to information than on your cell phone and stuff like that. And they be having more access to legal systems because of course what is the penitentiary jailhouse not having access to jail type of information or government or system or legal terms, you know what I'm saying? So that type of stuff is really like prevalent. Like somebody was like, look what the fuck we got on our hand. God damn it. Because label me as a tyrant. Nah, it's just like my innocence and how far this stuff went. Like that's wrong. That's wrong. And then if you basing this off of a fucking female that just weird, this Denise broad, like y'all weird. Oh, well, I got a niece that I know how to keep this man under submission. And I know how to do this type of things because, they don't feel like they trust. They got that imposter syndrome. Like, we go to church and stuff like that. Like, y'all using that shit in the wrong way. Somebody's literally sleeping with the politician. Somebody got grandiose behavior. Nathaniel, somebody's name is like Venus or start with VE. Vivian or something. Like this shit is gonna start coming down. But once you know more or less, you'll know the behavior, the mannerisms. You gotta pay attention. If they too quick to try to be your friend, like, oh, we should hang out after work. No, we should not. No, we should not hang out after work. Oh, my kids go to that school. That's good that your kids go to that school. That's great. Unless it's something that's an emergency or something like that and you just need them get dropped off, okay. You gotta pick them up and drop them off, right? That's it. Okay, that's it. Hey, officer such and such, your kids go to my kid's school. Cool. But do they need to get picked up and dropped off or something? Because anything outside of that, I'm not looking for my kids to become your kids' friends. Like more often than not, when they trying to pull that shit, like, oh, try to make friends with this kid at school. And then they're like, nah, motherfucking shit. If anything, I'll get smart and hire a fucking nanny to be in the house so the kids can do homeschool or some shit like that. Just to avoid those type of issues. Like, if you want to avoid the conflict of interest in certain situations, should be smart enough to not ever allow your kids to go into a system, especially, if you're a cop or something like that. You got to be smart enough to know, like, to avoid any type of situation. Should nobody know where you live at, where your kids go to school and shit like that. Oh, they go this. Okay, sports, extracurriculars. Okay, it's sports. It's called teamwork. Okay, that's sports. But anything outside of that, I'm not sitting here trying to be soccer mom shit. I'm there for the support of my child. Being your friend don't make anything better or nothing like that. More often than not, it be people that literally, that's how they get themselves involved in these crimes. Oh, my kid goes to their university. Let me go do this. It's like, whatever. But just know what type of situations that you're dealing with. Right now, somebody is mad in the motherfuckers. Government officials are probably like pissed off. Like, how does bitch know this shit? Okay, Godzilla. We got Godzilla. She's sane. Looking to prove insanity is probably not the greatest thing right now. It's probably contradicting, but however, with technology and someone abusing their authority and power to attempt to prove something, it's odd behavior, but it's not like it does not happen more often than not, But you guys be great. We do what we do. If I got some more downloads or messages come, I'll see you when I do. Because other than that, I was summoned. Because when that left ear get the itching, it's a lot of negativity. And when that negativity get to going, that's when you just gotta come on and, hey, how you doing? Lips all dry and shit. I gotta go get hydrated or whatever. But the biggest part of this situation is that's what I gotta. Hey, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? Y'all missed it in me? Because if you talking shit, that means that my ear get the itching. That means you missed it in me. Y'all want to sync me? You don't speak appropriately. That means you just don't get my personality, Sugarfoot. You love to cause obstacles and challenges until it's like, hey, the universe is going to put some truth in your face. Shit, I know the Lord don't like to lie. But now when you got to sit there, don't lie, and then it starts to apply. Then don't try to cause mental confusion. Are they going to mentally abuse me? Motherfucker, were you mentally abusing somebody? Nobody is capable of doing nothing to you that you're not already doing to yourself or causing other people to do to another person. Logic says, you know what I'm saying? If this person is lying to me. Okay, where are you lying to yourself at? Don't project on anyone. Because even in a lie, a person will tell them themselves. You just got to be able to look for the truth, right? If you're seeking the truth tellers you ain't got to look for the truth. The truth is right there. Now you're in delusion when you're looking to create something that's not even there. Tell the truth, shame the devil. Is that what they say? Country old backwoods saying, say, tell the truth, shame the devil, okay? This ain't 1965, you know. I ain't no Martin Luther King. Shit, Martin Luther King did some fucked up shit. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. You know, you knew he knew it. He knew it. He wasn't supposed to be treating on Coretta like that. He was not supposed to be treating on Coretta. Him knew it. And he did the ultimate no-no. And he was over there messing with them chicken breast women. That's just how the shit goes. Now, can we say that it was his family that did it? Or he pissed the brothers off that was actually working with, like, motherfucker, we beating our asses to sit here and do this shit to get these motherfucking black rights, and your ass over here being a sellout. I mean, versus them having an open mind, like, it's okay to like something different. Like, if he wanted to divorce his wife, but he still, you know what I'm saying, wise men will have wise conversation. Make sure she good, she straight, she taken care of. You know what I'm saying? But it's, you did this. It's just, I mean... Let me go time out, because motherfuckers over here laughing like, Rita, what? I don't do the politically correct shit. Like, are you triggered? Like, you'll be okay, bitch. Laugh a little bit. These be motherfuckers walking around with a wedgie in their ass all day. Unclench your ass cheeks and laugh a little bit, bitch. The world is in shit. We can afford to laugh for the bullshit that it is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Call the black pot, you know, kiddo called black, whatever the fuck that shit say. Just laugh a little bit. Unclench your ass cheeks, motherfucker. You will be A-okay. The fuck? Shit, if you looking rough that day, bitch, you just looking rough that day. You'll be okay. He ain't dead. That nigga ain't dead. You'll be okay. I mean, shit, but... certain shit just be happening. Shit, I know what Trump did when he released that shit. Like, Trump, you know you dead wrong when you released that bullshit. Like, they over here keep trying to call people fucking racist and shit. Nigga, I know that we both know how the scenario go, but you know black folks is not gonna be too prepared to accept the shit. Like, so now the confusion is, how much did Coretta get off his ass when he died at that time? I'm just curious. Hey. When did them insurance policies really get into fucking full effect in the community? Somebody like, my sister, my brother. He's an undercover brother. And you thought Undercover Brother was made for no reason, and they used Eddie Griffin out of all motherfuckers to do that shit. If you know about anything about Eddie Griffin, he loves fucking history. Okay? Shit, Morgan Freeman, he loves fucking, you know, biblical, historical, ancient history, right? Why else did he use Jim Carrey to do Bruce Almighty? Is God real? I mean, I know God is real. Nothing is ever by chance. India already made a song about that shit. That's how I know God is real. It's just certain shit that it ain't gonna happen by chance. Don't be on the pulpit and lying and shit, cause that shit gonna bite you in the ass in the craziest way. Oh, you thought you was gonna be on the stand? You lied those first few times. However, the Most High has His ways to enlighten people, and you be like, "How did I end up telling the truth today?" Tell the truth, say the devil. The devil said he don't even want your blood no more. Like you trying to sacrifice somebody else's life, and you over here doing, oh, you living that trife life. Shit, even the devil be sitting here like, the devil even get a kick out of sitting there and watching motherfuckers fuck up their own life too. So shit, that's low key paying back in blood. Like they're embarrassing the shame of people figuring out what they did, they real names and shit like that. Like, oh my gosh, they don't know what I did. That's the beauty of the shit. The insult and the embarrassment and stuff like that, that's technically paying back in blood, and then whatever else it is, you might actually have to pay in real blood. It just depends. But hey, doesn't take a rocket scientist to know this shit. But all love, no pun, all pun intended. With all love, y'all be blessed. Hopefully I'm not gonna get summons again. But have some wisdom, have some insight, because somebody mad that a motherfucker is like, I'm gonna fight. What you wanna fight for, bud? Go sit down, buddy. Somebody born in 1940 of something that they did in 1989. It's like, how you know about this stuff? Somebody's birthday is September 12th, the 13th, the September 4th, or some shit like that. It's like they can reveal all these type of things. Somebody born in 1950, 54, 56. We got 1940, 45, 1946. The motherfuckers still be alive. They just be in some bullshit. He ain't dead. He just like, hold on, we gotta go old school with the shit for a little bit. Not necessarily. Something about 88, you know what I'm saying? I'll be on that 808. And be like, oh, we're gonna do this. Somebody, a transsexual, just purchased a 38, hoping that it's like, you don't say my name. You're not important enough to say your name. Like, your irrelevancy of your existence is the main existence of why people are doing what they're doing. Because someone born in 78 or 87 or 1974 or 1947 does not agree with your existence. Especially whatever you did on December 3rd or 6th. Hey, it's coming to the surface. What we do in the dark comes to the light, they say, right? Be mindful. Be blessed, people. Do great things in the world. Deuces.